What's up, y'all? So, hope y'all can hear me. So, I want to do this video is not like for really for a review, but y'all know I'm a deep thinker, right? So, and I'm very solution oriented. So, I'm always thinking like, okay, what can we learn from everything? Where do we go from here? What can we take from this? Um, and I think the past 2 days were like a very interesting 2 days. Um, because when you think about it, um, yeah, it's been an interesting 2 days because you got to learn a lot about how people move, what people think, how we function, as people, as men specifically, and black men specifically. And I like to kind of study people. So that's really been what these last 2 days have been about is how do the elders and what we consider to be the old heads and even the young guys, like how do they move? How do we move? So it's been interesting to study how we move, you know. Um, I'm probably gonna end up pulling up this video from last night just to kind of to study it. Let's take notes. Let's study. Let's see what happened. Um, Hold on. And the interesting part is I don't know if people watching this or I have seen the video the live from the other night. But the interesting part would be um what what do you think happened, right? Because it's like I think a couple people, everybody in the comments was thinking, well, no, they gaslighting you. You being gaslit, which I understood already. But I ask these things because I want to be objective, so I want to get other people's opinions. Um, but last night when I was in my attempt to be objective, you can be gaslit when you want to be objective. So let's actually pull that up on my brother channel, Trey the Truth Teller. And y'all, like I'm a very, a lot of times I joke, but I'm a very serious person, right? Um, like I'm a very serious person and a deep thinker. So, like I said, I joke a lot, but when it's time to be serious, it's serious. And I find that a lot of other people joke when it's time to be serious, which is interesting to me. All right, so let's pull this bad boy up, man. Let me share my screen. We can go over it. Share screen. Okay, let me know if y'all can see that. Whoever in the comments, let me know if y'all can see that. Public chat, cool. Yep, we can see it. We good. I hate going live without my professional setup, but I got a lot to do today with the kids and all that type of stuff. Pick the kids up, take them swimming. Let's get this video popping.
If you don't mind,
To,
expound it.
Hold on, I got your beans. Give me a second.
Hold on. So the beginning don't matter, right? We're gonna go all the way up to when we start talking about some real stuff. Not what we talk. Actually, no, we can start here, man. We can start here.
It's all good. We're gonna have the conversation. Remember I told y'all I'm gonna be humble first, right? Next time, ain't gonna be no more humble.
Every move got a cost. Hey man, what's up with the great?
That sometime. Next time, what it do? What it do, chat? I see y'all love and respect. I ain't gonna hurt y'all boy tonight because I know y'all like the cat. These young boys need some get right, some act right.
See, so like I wasn't there during this portion of the. This is when I wasn't there yet. But psychoanalyzing it, it's like I'm thinking, why is all of this necessary? We had something last night where some things were said, not by me. I didn't have no beef with nobody, but some things were said about me, right? So why does this necessarily? And I understand where this, like, we from the same place, right? So I understand where it comes from. You know, the need to, like, in this portion, like me personally, the type of person that I am at this point in my life, I stay quiet. Moments like this, we came here to talk, talk like men or whatever, have a debate. I stay quiet. Oh no, what's up? I'm not gonna mention the other person that I'm debating against or I have an issue with. I'm not gonna talk about them, right? But where we come from, a lot of times, this is how we react, right? So
Hey man, what's up with the gray hoodie, man?
Hey, my little brother called me to declare peace. I had to do him a favor, you know what I'm saying? So I come to teach the young boy. I ain't gonna destroy him. I thought about putting the black one on and repro. All right, I'll come like this. It's all good. It's all good.
see, all of that doesn't mean anything to me, right? Like all of the I guess theatrics. That to me it doesn't mean anything. We come to debate, we come to talk. Like let's do it. You feel me? But let's play it.
Good. We're gonna have the conversation. I'm gonna be, remember I told y'all I'm gonna be humble first, right? Next time, ain't gonna be no more humble. I got me some blood last night though. I feel like a vampire, for real. What it do? What it do? What it do, chat? I see y'all love and respect. I ain't gonna hurt y'all boy tonight because I know y'all like the cat. These young boys need some get right, some act right. So I'm gonna act them right. We gonna have a conversation. Y'all let us know what y'all think. But if you get out of line next time, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just letting y'all know. I humble myself first.
That was an interesting part. And honestly, I don't think P. Smurf was proud about what happened. Honestly, if in my personal opinion, I think that he knew that he was kind of out of bounds. I don't think that he was proud about that, and I think that's probably why he was, for the most part of the night when we was having the conversation, he wasn't really there. He kind of popped out, which was unusual. But I don't think that he was really proud about what happened. And in our community, sometimes it's hard for us to say that. It's hard for us to kind of like, be in that space.
You heard me, Harlan? You heard me, Will?
I hear you.
JT, Angry Man? Trey? All right. Don't hold me back next time, Trey.
Uh, let's keep on.
How hold you back? Hey, Reason, I got a Reason. Come back, all right?
Let's get to some.
Hey, y'all, Mom, where you at?
If you don't mind, it's
A lot of the conversation earlier.
facts.
Me and I think me and Angry Man had a different position, but he pretty much understood everything that I was saying. He just thought something else. So I don't, like he said, yeah, I think he was being passive aggressive. That's all I really did. I thought he was being.
Because I'm wrapping the show and you're interrupting me.
First of all,
This is what we spent a whole meeting on this.
first of all,
week.
Teray,
I'm
first of
wrapping the
all,
show.
Teray.
Why-
But the rest of the clip is just them pretty much going back and forth about what just happened. But that's initially what just happened.
So before we go there, and then Will had something to say, right?
No, I was just saying that we need to watch the video because everybody in the audience was saying we didn't know what was going on.
Got you. So before we go there, condescending means behaving in a way that implies you are superior.
Hey, I apologize. Reread the definition. Hey, we got 36 likes and we got all these people watching. Come on, y'all. Don't be that goddamn disrespectful. Like the stream. We're gonna have a great conversation because after Mutt and P. Smurf hash out this dynamic in this conversation, and Angry Man finish his burger, we got
That's the second one.
we got Beans.
Some of that.
Beans, listen. Beans got smoke for P. Smurf. So
I'm gonna drop.
Oh,
go ahead, Beans.
So-
I mean, go ahead, Smurf.
I'm gonna drop the link for y'all too, just so I'll have it. In case anybody wanna talk. What's up, y'all? Yeah, it's very interesting. And I don't think it's I I think it's more so character flaw. Like I don't think that people actually, I don't know. They may not even know what they do, right? It may be a serious blind spot. Let me see where we at. Let me move this out the way. Like it may be a serious blind spot that people actually have, but I don't. It's possible that niggas don't even know that they was gaslighting. Um, like you know, um, and it's interesting also like how like the older people. It seemed like when it's time to have a serious conversation, um, it's like they can't function. It like somebody has to make a joke or somebody has to like, you know, hold on. Yeah, it seemed I'm gonna play that part, but it seemed like when it's time to get serious, everybody want to start joking. Um, and it seemed like if you are serious, you want to have a serious conversation. People want you to scream, or else they don't take you serious. I don't. I think that's the interesting part is if I'm not screaming, I'm not. Oh, it's not serious. It's not that serious. Maybe that's what we at with it. Let me see.
I'm sorry.
Condescending mean, no worries. Condescending mean, check it out. Behaving in a way that implies you are superior, more intelligent, or more important than the person you are interacting with. So at what point was he condescending?
So if you when we played the part where he said well, I think that we should have more gentle parents and more gentle, more gentle men and gentle women in our world and like all that stuff. That's condescending. He was pretty much saying like,
that's not condescending. I disagree. No, that's not. Behaving in a way that implies he didn't act like he was superior. Now he may was trolling. He may was trolling. He may even was what
and this is the hey, what up, Lee? And this is the interesting part, right? A lot of times when you having these conversations, nobody on the panel is really like a rational, extremely rational thinker. So if you're an extremely rational thinker, nobody's going to understand what you're saying. But today we happen to have a few rational thinkers on the panel, and they like, no, like look at Fantastic Face. He like, nah, that nigga was condescending, right? Because my whole thing was, you were the first person to be condescending, so she took that as disrespect, and now everything that happened after that is from that, right? Where everybody else is like, oh no, she cut him off. That's the first sign of disrespect, and it's like nobody else can really understand that, which is crazy. But check this out.
Be the word out. He may was poking at her.
Fantastic.
Right?
He like,
but
no.
there is no way in the world he act like he was superior than her.
No.
Or more intelligent than her.
Go ahead, Fantastic.
Or more important than her.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody, man. So no, brother. Disrespect and condescending go hand in hand. So if he's making fun of she made a serious statement, and then he comes to belittle it. He is putting it his thought, his ideology, or his way of parenting, and saying that pretty much hers is obsolete or hers is inferior because he feels like.
That's exactly what happened. That's a fact, Lee. That ain't never gonna happen. I'm going for what I stand on. So if somebody can change my perspective, they can change it. But if you can't, you can't. My perspective is my perspective. I'm gonna say what I think. But yeah, right there, like it was quite obviously condescension. He was belittling her perspective. He wasn't just saying his opinion, which is what all the guys see. They only see the opinion, right? And maybe this is the way that men communicate. Maybe men, let me not say men. Maybe many men, a lot of men, some men, the way that they communicate is they don't pick up on all of the other nuances. Like I pick up on all of the nuances of communication, not just the words that were said. And maybe that's a handicap that a lot of men have. That nigga was condescending, and nobody picked up on the condescension besides the people who could understand condescension, right? So they just thought, oh, he just said his opinion. No, he didn't say his opinion. He fucking was being sarcastic, and he was condescending, and he was belittling her through the way that he communicated. But nobody could understand that. And if you want a panel with 9 niggas who don't understand that, they gonna be like, oh, you getting cooked, right? Whereas you bring at least one nigga who got that's not common sense. One nigga who won't be able to understand condescension, and he's like, no, like that shit was condescending. Which pretty much that vindicates the entire that voids the entire yesterday. Like, and I hope niggas can be like, oh shit. Everybody thought he was wrong, but I'm the wrong one, right? Maybe this is more nuanced than I thought, right? Niggas thought this shit was a home run, right? They thought it was a home run. No, it's not, nigga. It's way more nuanced than you think.
Like, we need more gentle people, preferably men, as he said. That is extremely condescending to a person that just gave a very serious and thought out explanation for, you know, what they're talking about. See, that's condescending, brother. That's condescending as hell.
I might as well just jump off a building now, bro.
But what's this big? This is a fucking. This nobody want to say nothing now. Yo, Keon, I got the link up there. You can pull up. We can talk about it. You look at that. Nobody wants to say nothing. Fantastic did a good job of articulating how it was condescension. Quite, very simple. It's easy to understand, but he did a good job of articulating, and now nobody wants to say anything. No pushback. No conceding. No nothing. Cool. Interesting. Yeah, Keon, I got the link up there. I'm gonna post it again. Play this. So it was condescending. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like if you came and you said anything serious about something, and then I make a joke about a serious statement you made, that everyone understands that to be not only condescending but disrespectful, and words are going to be had between two men for you doing that.
Okay, so can I speak?
Go ahead, Beans.
Okay, so I won't. I swear I'm not doing this with y'all tonight. He just.
This part is irrelevant. They start arguing for no reason. Let's get to another point in the conversation.
Okay.
No, that's what we talked about earlier, Sal.
Okay.
I'm
trying to move the conversation along because we stuck on Bean's point about Fight Club old shit, but I'm trying to just move it along.
I would answer.
Dick. You could quote me now because
I would answer, Will, but I'm currently looking up sign language so I can be able to communicate with y'all. Because niggas,
Me, I won't play with you.
I think last night.
Yeah.
He was
It ain't
conducting
no
himself.
feeling, bro.
So this is some of the things you said, right?
It goes to so it.
Stream and sharing it out and subscribing if you haven't done so. Greatly appreciate y'all.
That's it, brother.
All right. So Mont, we got the video. You was able to minutely respond last night. Would you like to further expound upon your response today?
Yeah, I know. All right, so right here, and I'm pretty sure y'all already seen it. I just played the video of what P. Smurf said when he crashed out. And now Cell is like, okay, we watched the video now. What you want to talk about, right? And the interesting part is, we didn't have to have everybody on the panel. We could have just been me and P. Smurf had a conversation. But I thought that maybe if we had other people on the panel, it would help us be more objective and it would help us get more opinions, because I think that tends to be better for situations like these where, I think that it can be beneficial when several people are communicating and you have other eyes on it. That's why you have peer-reviewed articles, right? And peer-reviewed surveys, where it's like, okay, you had an opinion, however, let me look at this too and put my eyes on it, right? So I thought that it would be beneficial, but it turned out to be quite the opposite. I think that maybe I should not have had niggas on the panel. It should have been me and P Smurf, right? It should have just been me and P Smurf, because I had no idea that niggas would not be objective. I had no idea that niggas would gaslight. It was just like, y'all niggas might as well get off the stage for all this, right? Yeah, let me play this. Let me play it. I guess for the people watching, it was nothing really on the panel that was said to P Smurf. If you're, because it seemed like if you're watching it from outside looking in, you would assume that maybe we had something going on. You know, me and P Smurf going back and forth. He just pulled up on the panel and he just went off, right? But I want P Smurf to give his perspective. Like, why did he feel the need to go off like that? And we can go from there. All right, so I talked to Trey earlier that day, right? I talked to Trey earlier that day. And when I was talking to Trey, we was talking about some other shit, right? But P Smurf had called him. And he wanted to talk about what time we was going to do the show. The night, you know, redo the review, right? And when Trey started talking about that, he put me and Smurf on the line. It ended up kind of coming. The idea was to not talk about anything and to just schedule and then talk about later. But it came up, right? P Smurf expressed that he felt that way because I've taken shots at him in the past. To me, I've never taken no shots at P Smurf. I may have joked once or twice, maybe. I can't remember vividly, but maybe I joked once or twice, and it probably was like in joking with everybody. And he said that, oh, you know, you've taken shots at me before, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. What? Tell me about that, right? So he brought up like one or two situations that was kind of really like not really shots to me. So, but he said he would come later and he would have receipts. You know, he would go and find those things and bring receipts. So that means that, okay, your reason for going so hard is because you think that I've been going hard at you. Cool. So when we had this conversation and I say, all right, I want P Smurf to express why he felt that way and why he said what he said, he didn't say any of the things that was spoken about on the phone, which was interesting. And that kind of threw me off. I thought we was about to have a, talk about that, but yeah. So I don't understand what's so funny right here. I'm genuinely hold on.
Stream and sharing it out and subscribing if you haven't done so. Greatly appreciate y'all.
That's it, brother.
All right. So Mont, we got the video. You was able to minutely respond last night. Would you like to further expound upon your response today?
Yeah, I know. I guess for the people watching, it was nothing really on the panel that was said to P Smurf. Because it seemed like if you're watching it from outside looking in, you would assume that maybe we had something going on. You know, me and P Smurf going back and forth. He just pulled up on the panel and he just went off, right? But I want P Smurf to give his perspective. Like, why did he feel the need to go off like that? And we can go from there.
Okay. Hey, no wonder why we can't stand. We can't. I mean, for me, it's simple. I'll be ready to move the.
So I don't understand. Maybe I couldn't hear Beans, but it looked like nobody could. It's baffling me. What was just so funny? And maybe I can't understand what was going on. But what was just so funny right there? I was asking, we came to have a serious conversation. And that's probably why these niggas should have not been on the fucking panel. But I be thinking I'm the young nigga. I be thinking I'm the kid. And we having a serious conversation. They say, oh, and yeah, Beans was on the phone, so it's like they say, all right, Mont, what do you want to? And I say, oh, he said some things last night. I want him to give his perspective. Everybody starts laughing. I'm supposed to be the young nigga though. I'm supposed to be the class clown, always, joking and all that type of shit. Can't take nothing serious, right? That's just very interesting to me. Nothing was said, but everybody laughed just then. Everybody is laughing. Maybe they can give me their perspective on that later. Shit. Or maybe they speak an old head language or some shit.
Bar. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the dead horse. And that all it was over hours spent on one point, right? And at the end of the day, you gonna feel how you feel, however you, or whatever opinion you got towards whatever it matters, right? It doesn't fucking matter overall. If you're still above the ground, that's all that matters. Move the point. I was tired of hearing the same thing when it was something else that we was supposed to talk about. Now, my brothers say the algorithm is what it goes to. So if that's what it go to, hey, I gotta learn how to goddamn it get past when I'm tired of hearing the bullshit and about the same bullshit. And that's what it was. And Mont, you was the main corporate to that bullshit. Every time they asked you a question, you bro, answer the question. And you intelligent enough, I would assume, to answer the question, right? Being sarcastic, just fucking with you, right? See, I don't play fair. That's why I don't even like going back and forth in that sense. But when they ask you simple questions like, is this dude a lame? You couldn't answer that, right? But you can say he's sassy.
I was asked, is Tor lame? Right? And when I was asked that question, I wanted to think about it, right? Now, if I was asked, would the culture consider Tor to be a lame? I would say, yeah, instantly, right? Do you think most black men would consider Tor as a lame? Hell yeah. If you ask me, do I think Tor is a dweeb? I'd say, hell yeah. But when we're talking about a lame, to me, I don't think they always necessarily are synonyms, right? I think Tor is his own type of person who has his own group of friends and he got his own bitches, the type of women that he's attracted to, right? So when I think about lame, is this nigga not able to get women? Is this nigga not getting money? Like I'm thinking about things like that. So I wanted to think about those things, but when I answered that question, not like the stereotypical he different type of lame. I think that's in that context, I think that's a little bit different. So I wanted to actually think about that question, but they didn't want to let me think about the question. You asked me what I think. You didn't ask me what most motherfuckers assume Tor to be a lame. So, I wanted to think about that one.
He this, he that. I mean, what we doing? Everybody's saying the same thing except for you. And if you, once again, what I gave you props for, at least having some form of an open mind when it comes to a lot of these guys don't have that. But anytime you say, and this is what really got me, I gotta talk to think. I'm looking at you kind of side out. You know what I'm saying? And that was my point. So at this point, hey, it is what it is.
Mont?
Yeah, so I don't know. That seemed disingenuous. That the perspective would be, oh, you said that I said that I'm gonna process this as I speak. I'm gonna process this, right? That's what I said. I said, I'm gonna try and process. That's the part I don't like too. That's the part I don't like too. I'm so objective, and I'm so when it comes to, I come into conversations with such good faith that if I'm about to say something that I haven't actually had time to think about, I will let you know. Because you asked me a question and I want to try to answer it. And okay, I'll answer that question, but I'll process that as I'm going processing it as I'm talking. People do that a lot. Whenever you see somebody look up and they talk a little slower, that means they're thinking while they're speaking, right? People don't understand that, but that's not necessarily my problem that you don't understand that. I can teach you what that means by trying to give my perspective. What up? What up? I can teach you by trying to get my perspective, but it's not my fault that you don't understand that and you've never heard that. And you, when you hear that, your mind isn't open to trying to receive what I just said, right? I'm going to process this as I speak. I want to let you know that I've never actually thought about this, but let me try to think about it right now, and let's go through it together. That's what that means. All right, so let's go to the next. Processing this right now. I'm saying that I haven't processed it before. It's the first time I've even thought about it, but I preface my statement, right? And you saying that mean I'm talking to talking to think. Cool. That so this is some of the things you said, right? And these things that you said wouldn't be because you just felt like we was beating a dead horse. So let me come up and say all this shit about mine. You said we looking at you and your man bun being a lane, right? You said don't come over here when men trying to talk like with men trying to talk like a man. You went on another man's platform after he clowned you. That gangster shit, you can't match it. I whoop cats around your town, right? You curled up when that man came on you. You curled up when that man came on.
Pause.
Gotcha, pause. You curled up when that man came on camera. You soft. That nigga a lame just like you. And then I said you're not a real nigga. And then I think what you heard was I'm not a true gangster. So in that moment, you said that I said you wasn't a true gangster. I said you wasn't a real nigga.
Are you reading this shit?
Yeah, I wrote
you
it
got
down.
a transcript.
Wrote it down.
The fuck, you got a stenographer or something? What the fuck?
Oh, Dory, what up? When P Smurf did that, he did it all in like 2 minutes, so it was just easy to like. It was real easy to see when he came on screen, because he changed his outfit, and it was real easy to just type the things that he said. It took me 60 seconds to write down everything that he said. Just put in my notes on my phone, so it was very easy. But again, here we go, turning something serious into joking, introducing the jokes, which is cool sometimes. But like, keep it minimal. I'm trying to build. I'm trying to get something done here. So, but yeah.
What's going on?
You gotta come with receipts. So those are the things.
He ain't like the transcript last night though.
Yeah. Those are the things that were said, right? Which, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel, right? But I never knew that was how you felt. That's the part. I don't care what niggas say. I don't give a fuck about none of that. But that's the part that's getting me, right? Trey called me. I talk to Trey all the time. Sometimes Trey called me. He had P Smurf on the phone. So if you my man, oh cool. You OG, cool, right? So I want to go deeper into how you feel about these certain things that you said. What up? That's what I'm curious about.
Bro, it ain't no deep.
I want to go deeper into the things that you said. And you saying it's not no deeper. It's much deeper into the things that was actually said. What do you mean by that? What do you think about the things that you said? You said somebody came on camera and I started, I curled up. What do you mean by that? Who came on camera? Who curled up? How did I curl up? Who's seen that before, right? That's the curious. That's what that's what I'm interested in, is getting perspective, understanding how people think. But I think everybody just want to like scream. They think like these things. They think if we talking about these things, we should just be screaming. And if we not screaming, then what are we talking about? I think that's what I pick up from situations like this.
For me, it is what it is. You know what Jonesing is? You know what? Goddamn it, over talking them. See, this is the problem we having when we having a conversation. Now.
So do I know what Jonesing is? To my knowledge, Jonesing is a term using the DC area, the Baltimore DC area, which means joking. I'm just grinding you up. Yo, Willie, this Riverside, bro. I don't know how this shit work, man. I don't know how this shit work, bro. I gotta figure that out. Y'all niggas gotta help me figure that out. I give niggas a wrench in the YouTube chat. But let me get back. Let me see. What was I just saying? Fuck was I?
It's that deep.
Yeah, Jonesing, right? He's now so now this is how like the gaslight part. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go on YouTube and do it. Yeah, I'm gonna go on YouTube and figure that out. Click their name and assign it. All right, let me see if I can do that right now, real quick. Let me see if that's shit. Hold on, YouTube. Click their name and assign it. I ain't gonna figure that shit out right now, man. That shit mess up the stream. But yeah. So what was said the other night was, you know, everybody could watch it and be like, oh, you know, he's serious. He's saying some things that you're bringing up from the past or whatever. And now it's Jonesing, so that threw me off. I wasn't expecting to hear that. I was not expecting that at all. Especially like I think we all grown men. Whatever you say, whatever you mean, you about to say it. No dipping, dodging, none of that shit. But now niggas is telling me that they Jonesing, so it's like, all right, how am I supposed to take that? I'm processing that.
For you, it's that deep, baby.
Hey, I don't mean to jump in here real quick, but Peace Murph, I think what Mutt is trying to say, that you said these things, my nigga, do you really feel that way about him? That's what
he wear a man bun. That's facts.
Well,
do you feel like, hold on, do you feel like he really a lame though? No, hold on. Do you think Mutt is a lame?
Huh?
Do you think Mutt is a lame?
Yeah, he a lame. We know he a lame.
So was you feeling like that? Have you been feeling like this about him, or did you just feel like that because of how he was conducting himself?
It ain't no feeling, bro. If you ask the question if this dude was a lame and you don't answer the question, tell me what we saying. Nigga, you a lame.
But listen, I don't like me personally, right?
Wait, I get where you coming from. Watch this. Everybody else can play and talk shit, but then when I do it, it's a problem. Now I see what Beans talking about. Fuck off.
Okay. Yeah, so y'all see what I'm talking about? Now we playing. Now everything is jokes now. Niggas, everything is jokes now. I'm like, yo, what? So let me play something. Let me play back real quick. What we at? We at 107. So we're gonna go back to the when they played the video.
Out of here, bro.
Hey,
you can't even know who the real nigga is because you not one.
Yo,
what you talking about? You not man.
Holding in. I don't hold shit in when I feel a certain way about a nigga, right? You said, oh, you did this, I let it rock. You did this, I let it rock. You did this, I ain't say nothing.
I ain't hear me say let rock.
Go ahead,
shit,
go ahead.
I said I let you talk. Why that?
So that's Jonesing. Right there. Is that the Jonesing? Old head ain't even want to let me talk. He couldn't even compose himself to let me speak. But now I'm being told that, oh, I was just joking yesterday. Do y'all see how? And now we in the conversation and everybody like, Lamont, you just being sensitive. But so it's like, that's why nigga, I'm like, yo, is this gaslighting? Oh, you said you didn't see it, Lee? Yeah, Lee, it's crazy. It's unprompted, out of nowhere. Crazy shit out of nowhere. I didn't say nothing like that, right? But now the next day, they saying that he was joking. Let me play. Hold on, let me play it back for you a little bit.
Too long. You got cats on. Y'all gonna continue film on Reaper mode. What? Sit back and listen, youngster. You 32 years old. You still pissing. Sitting down, bro. Learn how to stand up and piss. We know how you was taught how to piss. Be right. Be truthful. When you talk to sit down and piss, tell the truth.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Mont 35.
No.
Hold on. 32.
32. Wait. Whoa. Wait.
I'm just asking that nobody talk. Let me and Peace Murph have this.
Hold on.
So, right here, I'm just asking, like, yo, Don't nobody say like Peace Murph come on crashing out. Don't nobody say nothing. Let us talk. Nah, facts, beans. I'm gonna drop the link for y'all just in case anybody want to pull up. Let me drop the link. Hold on. This shit wanna act goofy. Hold on. Let me drop this link for y'all. Copy link. It won't let me pay it. But if y'all go in the chat, the link should be up top too, but I'm trying to post it again. Paste, there we go. Shit acting goofy. So yeah, there go the link, right? What was I just
Hold on, you 32?
Yeah. Hold on.
Hey, wait a minute.
You don't want to come.
Hey, wait a minute.
Bro.
Hey, wait a minute, Mont, you 32?
I'm 32.
Nigga, that mean you only been an adult for 7 years, nigga.
Thank you.
You a 7-year-old adult, nigga.
Instead of be quiet, let every.
I think this is the problem with some old heads. Hey, what up?
What's good, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. What's going on, man?
No doubt, man. Yeah, I was watching this yesterday, man. This was wild.
so interesting, man. I don't know why, it's just always me. I don't get it. That's why my name everybody's by. I don't be doing nothing. I don't be doing nothing. And it's interesting because it's like, as you deal with this all the time, right? Where it's like older people think they know what's best. Cool. But I think older people tend to think that they're smarter than you or more intelligent than you. And I think it's so interesting for me because I'm open-minded, right? So I listen very closely. I listen to people and I process things and I know try to know what's good for me, what's not good for me. But yeah, it's like the old heads, they just think they're right. And I think it's disheartening when we realize like that a lot of older people, you can't just necessarily listen to them because a lot of them, they be wrong. But what was your take? I know you watched parts of it and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, it was a weird situation because I guess I like to hear people's perspectives on shit. So I'm not gonna get worked up if somebody has a different opinion on stuff. So I think sometimes in these spaces, man, I think people are intolerant to other people's views, man. I think that's the issue. Mm-hmm. So because like I said at first, I do agree Dr. Cheyenne should have escalated to the point she did. But when I saw the video when y'all played it, I was like, yeah, homeboy was mad flamboyant, flip wrist. So, he definitely could have handled it better. So it's almost like, man, there's two sides. Y'all both could have been right in those situations. And I think sometimes, man, everybody's coming in debate mode too much. Versus like, damn, okay, I see Mont's opinion, but the other side got a good point too. I still don't think she should have cussed him out, but he definitely should have handled it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I don't know what it is, but in these spaces, at least, I find that a lot of guys struggle to understand communication outside of just the words you say, right? So from there, like, I could tell, and a couple other people could tell that he was being condescending. It's not just what he said, because some people are like, he was just giving his opinion. It's not what he said, but it's how he said it. It's picking up on the subtle sarcasm and things like that, which she picked up on and she didn't like, right? But a lot of the guys, they weren't able to see that for whatever reason. I don't know.
I think, man, because it was even with the whole Tory Lanez situation with Megan Thee Stallion. If you look at the stuff, man, I took a side of like Tory Lanez, but everybody was like, since they hated Megan Thee Stallion, they was like, she guilty regardless, without looking at the stuff. And I think sometimes that's happened. I think with the current environment with Dr. Cheyenne Bryan, I think everybody was just somewhat biased. Whereas like she said anything, she's in fault. So I think that's what prevented a lot of people from looking at it the different perspective.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to circle back because you was asking something about the old heads. Man, I don't think it's all old heads because, man, I'm 46, so you can't lump everybody in there.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I do think like sometimes, man, older people feel like they should get a certain level of respect, and that's a 2-lane road. It's like, man, you gotta, if you want respect, you gotta give it too, man. So I think that's where people gotta tighten up.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, hey, since I'm 46, man, everybody needs to shut the fuck up and listen, because somebody younger might be wiser than you, man. So, you gotta leave room for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell when I'm talking to an older person and they're listening, right? Because typically if I'm talking to an older person and they listen and they're like, yo, he's making sense, he's intelligent, then I get a certain amount of respect of, okay, you can join, like we can have these conversations and you can actually, I can take your perspective and be like, oh, this is valuable, right? So I can kind of hear like but some old heads if they disagree with you, they not even trying to understand how did you come to this conclusion and how does that at least make sense to you, right? Because that's what I do a lot of times. If I don't agree with somebody, I'll be like, I can see how you got there.
Yeah.
Like they don't even, see that.
Yeah, you have understanding. We was actually talking about this on the last time you had a live where I was talking about people got to get better out of not trying to embarrass everybody, because I think, man, we all have that in us, man. I'm guilty of it too, man, where I had to learn how to, instead of coming up there trying to provoke people and be that bully shit, it's just like, nah, you know what, fall back, let people have that conversation, and I get the cracking jokes, but yeah, this should be going too far sometimes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, man, so the whole intent for you to have this conversation, were you trying to see like, why, what was the guy's name in the red that kind of came up there?
P. Smurf.
Were you trying to see like if there was more to why he was having those type of thoughts about you or something?
Yeah, so like I think that's how people should communicate, right? So if you came on here and you was like, yo, Mont, fuck you, right? There's some people who would say, oh, fuck you. I would say, why do you say that? Why do you have those feelings of fuck me? I'm gonna ask you why you feel that way, and we're gonna talk about it, right? And it might finish with us fighting, right? However, I want a better understanding of how you feel and what made you say that, right? I don't get it. It's not an emotional thing with me. It's not an emotional thing with me, if that makes sense. Like you said fuck me, I'm not like, oh, he said fuck me, oh my God. Like, I understand disrespect, right? And when somebody disrespects you, it's a couple routes you can go. You can run in their shit, or you can have a conversation, or you can walk the other way. It's different things you can decide to do. But in these spaces, we can't put hands on niggas. I can't put my hands on nobody and stuff like that. That's not even an option, right? So my option is had a conversation. Other people think that when they yell and they scream, that does something for them. It don't do nothing for me for the most part, right? So that was my goal, was to like, all right, so let's start with how do you feel? Why do you feel that way? And then a big part of it is, I know a lot of people like to be fake, right? It's like something that a lot of people do. But for me, after that night, it's like, yo, I can't be fake with you, so let's address it. Right, let's see what happened. And it's like, all right, cool, you feel that way? Cool. Now I know. So Trey, don't be calling me with old head on the phone and shit like that. Like, he not my man. So if that makes sense.
Yeah. But do you think, man, maybe that conversation, if he would have pulled up there like that, maybe I probably should have had that behind the scenes, like you, him, and Trey, versus because I think, don't you think like maybe putting it on a public forum, it kind of put him in a position where he had to, he felt like kind of boxed in or something like that?
That's possible. That's possible. I think that's true, right? And I think that's maybe a character flaw. I wouldn't feel that way if I was in a public forum. I'm always like, I consider myself a real nigga, right? I'm real. I'm honest. So I don't be, I don't feel a certain type of way coming on here and being honest and stuff like that. But it's very possible that a lot of other people feel a certain way about their image, and they have to, maintain that image. So it might cause them to be disingenuous, or might cause them to not say things that they already said. Because when we was on the phone earlier, like, he was telling me what the issue was. He thought I took shots at him before. And I said, all right, well, let me know. Come bring the receipts of the shots. We going, we'll talk about it. And when I asked him, like, I wanted you to give you a perspective of why you did that, none of that was said. So it kind of threw me off, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, one thing I would just take away for you, man, and this is one thing I had to learn for myself, because I think, man, you know, when you're wise and people see you in a light of like, okay, Mont, he's a smart guy, man, he's successful. I think sometimes when you say stuff to people, you know, it strikes a little harder. So that's why I was just saying, you know, maybe sometimes, man, you know, you have to take that extra step because you did nothing wrong. So I'm not saying that, but it's just like, you know what, let me do this behind the scenes, have this conversation with them, because I know, man, it might put this person in a position where they feel like they getting sunned and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's how our culture goes, man. So yeah, I think maybe, you know, putting it out here like that, you know, that's why I kind of, you know, had an escalation and stuff like that.
No, for sure.
But I don't think you was in the wrong, man. But I just think it.
Yeah. You know, part of the reason that I wanted it live is because he did the original Crash Out live. So I thought that it might be useful to, like, you know, if like somebody do something to you in public and then they apologize in private, I just think sometimes, you know, it makes sense to, you know, talk about it in public, you know, like you did the original thing in public. But I agree with you. Like, I think if we had it in private, we could have resolved it. But however, didn't really care about resolving it. You know, it wasn't like a thing where I'm like, all right, let's patch it up and we can be friends moving forward. I don't care about that, right?
Okay.
So, you know, but I did not expect it to go how it went. I thought people was going to be honest and all that type of stuff. So,
well, I thought it was an awkward situation for I'll say for like an angry man and some of the others. So I think that's why they was cracking jokes, trying to lighten the mood. Because I think deep down they knew what, you know, it was a situation. So I think they was trying to bring it down. But like you said, you was being serious with it. You wanted to get to a deeper thing. So yeah, it probably should have been like, at least if y'all was gonna do it like that, you, Trey, and Peace Murph, whatever.
Yeah.
And even Willie, because Willie's pretty balanced, man. That's how I give it to Willie, or maybe even Beans, because, you know, he's real objective.
Beans is objective.
Yeah, so if you would have had one of them type of guys, you, Trey, then I think it would have been like, you know, more serious. Yeah, I would have got down to the point and stuff. There would have been some resolution with that.
Yeah.
Not saying like selling them wasn't trying to do a good job, but I think, you know, they probably just was in that mix. It felt that they had to crack some jokes at the time. Because, you know, that's probably what I would have done at some point, was like, hey, man, let me try to make, you know, lighter of this situation and crack some jokes, throw some jokes here and there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I agree. But it's like when it's time to do business, it's time to talk business, you know? And when it's time to joke, we can joke, you know, towards the end or something like that. But, yo, we literally just got in. We just started talking. Niggas already cracking jokes. Like, you know, niggas already laughing and stuff like that. We just started the conversation. So it was interesting. But yeah, it was like gaslighting in real time, which I know that's like a therapy word, and a lot of people throw it out there, you know, to kind of, you know, to make themselves a victim. But I think that was just like a prime example of, you know, gaslighting. Because remember, like, they just told me that he was joking, but then you play it back and it's like, you play this part.
Wait a minute, hold on, Mont 35.
Hold on,
32. 32. Wait, whoa, wait. Hold on.
Nobody talk. Let me and Peace Murph have it.
Hold on. Hold on. You 32? Hey, wait a minute.
You don't want to come.
Hey, wait a minute. Bro. Hey, wait a minute, Mont. You 32?
Fuck this nigga lame. You ain't look at this cat. No, not here, lame.
Damn.
With a man bun being the lane.
Interesting. So it's like I'm trying to think, like, all right, so I'm processing, okay, how do I participate in it moving forward? How do I participate in a way that is I guess useful, if that makes sense, in these conversations moving forward? Like do I get on here less because it's like, all right, you know, y'all niggas is nobody's going to be objective. So do I just get on less? Do I come on every once in a while when I feel comfortable, or do I get on? Do I get on fucking more? Do I become a villain? Right? You know, like is that one of the you know, one of the routes that I go? So I'm just, you know, I don't know. I'm just processing. You know, how do I feel now that you know, kind of, I wouldn't say people true colors come out, right? But at least the lack of objectivity in these situations because I'm always objective. That's why I'm always in a corner. I'm not a corner. That's why I'm always like 12 versus 1 because I'm always like, oh, that's how I feel, you know. Whereas other people, even if they feel a certain way, like even if they feel like P Smurf, you was OD, you was wrong, right? Nobody said it, which was interesting, you know. So
Yeah. No, I think you stay in the space, man. Like, cause man, your opposing views are good, man. I'm one of the people, man. That's why I do like the Beans, Mr. Fantastic, you know, Willie,
yeah,
you. I think you guys are needed. So nah, I think you need to stay in there. But you know, say like you drop your points and it's not hitting, then you might just need to wrap it up early that night. You might be like, you know what? Let me go on kick rocks and I got some better shit to do. Let me go hit this gym. Cause you know, that's how I be. If I see shit going sideways, I'll be like, all right, man, I got y'all. It'll be 20 minutes. I'll be like, yep, I know where this is going. Peace out.
yeah.
You know, and I go do my other thing. But nah, I think you need to still go to the space and stuff. But yeah, if it start going like left, you just be like, man, I got other shit I can do, man.
Yeah, I guess I'm definitely gonna start doing more of my own, cause everything, you know, the panels be cool, but I really don't like all the bullshit. I really like to build on these conversations. Like I like to get somewhere during the conversations, and it is extremely difficult to get somewhere with the just a lot of the current conversations. It's hard. Like I be just sitting back like, God damn, we still on the same joint, you know? What up, Dory?
Hi.
What's going on, Dor?
Hi, sophisticated. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice seeing you.
Sex,
Yeah,
do you think I come off condescending? That's interesting because I think Drake, you said that earlier. You said, you know, maybe some people may feel a certain type of way when I say certain things. I didn't know, but I'm picking up on like certain people might be thinking that like this nigga think he's smarter than me or something.
I don't think you come off condescending. I just think people would view it like that. Cause like I said, man, you know, a lot of times it used to happen to me, man. I used to be flashy as fuck, you know. And then people would just, started noticing like, man, when I said stuff, it would hit a little harder for certain people and stuff. So that's where I had to back off. But I would say it's not condescending. I think, you know, you're using humor and stuff you know, you got a calm demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a mixture of that, how people would view it. But I don't think you're condescending.
yeah. I was gonna say the demeanor too, like because if everybody else is sitting here yelling at each other all the time and you the calm one, I mean, people could take that different.
Yeah, I see that. I'm about to play the part where last night they was saying that I was it seemed like I was in my feelings, but then everybody started screaming and yelling at each other. So and being screaming at the top of their lungs, yelling at each other. But I'm cause for the most part I'm one way on these panels, so I'm just like I'm chill, you know. Versus like I don't really turn up, you know, for the most part. So I think people just do y'all think it's a community thing? Like it's us in our community. Like we're not yelling. We think that like we're not having a real conversation, or
Yeah, I think we're naturally loud, man. And I just think it's a new form of communication people got to get used to, man. So I think it's some of that. So, you know, there's going to be a learning curve whenever you have some new shit coming out and, you know, people got delayed Wi-Fi and stuff. So that fucks up some of the stuff. So I think it's a combination of that. And then I do think people think like, hey, if I'm screaming on top of somebody, I'm winning. So yeah, sometimes it's hard to get points across. So yeah, that's where I'm like you. I fall back. I get your shit off, and you know I'll say some witty shit. People might get in their feelings, but it's like it is what it is at that point.
and that's the reason that I can let people talk because I truly don't. It doesn't bother me when you say certain things because for the most part, well, nothing that people say are for the most part are true, right? I'm one of those people that if I'm going to say something about you, it's going to be true, right? So I'm not going to like make jokes that are well. If I don't like somebody, right? My malicious jokes aren't going to be things that are not true. It's going to be the things that are true, right? Whereas people will say something about me, and I'm like, oh, you say I'm a lame, like, oh, that sounds crazy to me, but you know, type thing. I don't know what you think, Dory. What's your take?
I was gonna say, I yes, it's a part of. It does seem like it's a part of the community, but it also seems like I'm the loudest one in the room, so I'm the strongest kind of a situation. And
Yeah.
then for us quiet ones, we just get drowned out all the time, so we look weaker, so to speak. but it's just that we don't feel like being loud. It doesn't make you smarter or stronger. It's just you're just loud and I'm not. So that's how I see it.
Interesting. Let me I'm actually on my other YouTube channel. I'm about to I said it last night, but I'm about to I think my first interview is gonna be with a relationship therapist. So that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna get to kind of ask a lot of questions and stuff like that, and hopefully, cause I want my actual audience on my Instagram. I want to do like so many interviews with just interesting people. I want to be like Joe Rogan style, where you just like, cause Joe Rogan's where I learned a lot of shit from, like random shit about animals and about the world, stupid shit like that. So I kind of want to that's like the route I want to go, where I can just like really talk some type of shit like that.
Would you ever do an interview with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant?
Of course I would. I think she's interesting. I wouldn't look at her. Honestly, I oppose a lot of the things that she says. I wouldn't look at her like an authority. I would look at her like somebody who I want to like ask her questions, and I want to challenge her to think about the shit that she's already said. Like
what would you do if she cussed you out like she did Torre at the end? How would you handle that?
If she
like, you know what, fuck you, Lamont.
Mine said
how would you handle that?
On LaPie, so he know how to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't even have got to that point because I wouldn't have been, like that. But I let people talk. Like you start talking over me, or you take my turn. Let me know when you're done, and that's what I do. Like I'm not about to be yelling back and forth, especially with these mics. My mic lower me down when I my mic lowers my voice when somebody else talk. I hate that shit. So I just I let them always get their shit off.
So you would just like let her talk, wrap it up, and then you'll like in Torre's case, you said you would have just closed out. You would have just gave her some time to speak, and then be like, all right, you know what? Let me close out after that. I probably would have handled it the same way.
But I think he has the right to, if he wants to correct her, he has the right to do that. However, like he did it like a hoe to me. Like it was just all like emotion and it's like no, his hands and all that type of stuff. And it was no resolve there. Like I want to give you a directive. I want to tell you like, hey, Cheyenne, stop cutting me off, right? Like let's stop the show, Cheyenne. You can't do that. But it was like he just wanted to argue with her. They catty, and I think that's why they didn't work on that show. I think they both catty, and it's just not going to work. That's what I think. That's why it didn't happen.
But I do think like people, man, that moderate them shows, man, because like I definitely think she overstepped. But like you said, he was condescending. It's like she should have, when she went overboard, dropped her or, muted. Like I think I was talking about it, muted both of the microphones. So I think people got to get better at being like equal with the punishment or stopping it, when it happens or something like that. If she saw the condescending nature, like, hey, Torre, come on, man, like, tone it down. You know how she get. Or when Cheyenne escalated up, it's just like, hey, we don't talk like that. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you or whatever. And that would kind of take people from having to, take matters into their own hands and shit or escalate up.
Yeah, I think they spoke about that in the pre-production meeting. I would assume, right? And I don't know anything, but if I go off of context clues, it looks like they had some sort of beef throughout the shows, right? Some underlying, beef that kind of has become a thing. And I think that they probably addressed her and him in the shows. And I think they probably addressed her and him in the show. So it's very possible that we saw that 5 minutes of the show. But before that, both of those people could have been like, yo, Cheyenne and Tora taking shots at each other, subtle shots at each other. So by the time we got there, like the producer is probably like, oh my God, like I don't know who to mute, because I don't know who started this shit. If y'all go ahead, Dory.
I was gonna say, since this is his show, things are getting heated with him, right? They could have muted him to save face or to, make sure that he's not gonna say something that's gonna hurt the business, because this is his show, so this is a business. So usually you want to get in control of the person who owns the show so that they are not going to be losing viewers or they're not going to look bad. So it's kind of like one of those things where if a celebrity has something that's being said about them that's negative, you kind of fall back, don't say anything, it's kind of one of those situations. So I kind of took it like that. Not necessarily that they just was choosing, favorites or anything like that, or, just, oh, let her talk and, shut him up. It was for business reasons, to save the business.
Yeah. I think that I think she muted him because they friends, right? And she wasn't about to mute her girl. That's what I think happened because I know that they're friends and she's already spoken on that, like about how she's going to be supporting Cheyenne regardless of the situation. So I just think that's why she did it. She said, "Let me mute this nigga," like, and just out of a bias. How do y'all feel about the Have y'all been I'm not really too privy, but I know I was on Sharon the other day and they was talking about the Fatty Ali situation. Have y'all been watching that at all?
Oh yeah, I know all
I
about
haven't watched that.
I haven't been watching it too much either. Yeah, I haven't been watching it too much either. I know they were trying to say when I was on Sharon that they think that in that situation that Fatty was pulling rank, but I didn't at that moment I didn't think so, but I didn't get far enough to see like was Fatty out of pocket, was Ali out of pocket, nothing like that. I didn't get that far in the situation.
No, I heard Fatty and them talk about it on the show, and they said like, look, we both correct each other like that. We got a brotherhood, so I'd leave it at that. I do think like just in the space period, man. I'm just one of those dudes. Say like me and you get cool, Mont. We have a fallout. I'm a behind the scenes type person, man. Even if somebody cuss me out, I'll take the L. You know what I'm saying? But behind the scenes, I'm like, hey, Mont, we gotta tighten up. If something needs to go to that whole next level, like I would hit somebody in their DMs and we'll handle it like that. That's how G shit's supposed to be handled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just not one of them people that play on shit in public. I'm a like do it behind the scenes, and if y'all got to part ways, you part ways, and then if people start asking you questions like, "Hey, man, I'm not gonna speak on that." Still a stand-up guy. That's how I'm gonna handle this shit. So I think more people need to get better at that.
I agree. That's how I've always thought that you handle things. But I figured that for me, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, like Fatty and Ali, they just gonna make content out of everything, So they probably like, all right, if we argue, let's argue on live because it's controversial and we can make money off it. Why not do it that way? Because you would think that most guys would just communicate on the back end, like, oh, you got Tommy is up there. Let me call Ali. Like, yo, drop that nigga. Yo, drop that nigga. He still ain't do what he was supposed to do or whatever. And y'all just had that conversation. Like tell Ali go on mute real quick and had his. I don't know, but yeah, they choose to do it on live. So.
But I think that was like more of a situation that played out in real time. And yeah, I think with the whole Tommy thing, there was some back history with that. So yeah, Fatty was like, fuck that. I'm pulling up. Homie got to go. So I think that's why it played out. But yeah, I think they should have just, go behind the scenes and stuff. So, they just, because even though it might be innocent to those two, anybody's going to latch on to shit and it's going to hit the public. And then you got to start explaining stuff. So that's why I just tell people, I'm like, man, just, fall back, let that like live happen. Then call people up and be like, look, man, homie can't come no more, block him, whatever. Because you just don't want people to capture shit and then run with it and it'd be some narrative that don't need to be out there.
No, that make the most sense. What you think? What you about to say, Dory?
I was gonna say, yeah, they should have had the conversation on the back end, because even if you're doing it for content, like when they did that show on You and they had people that was choosing Fatty's side and then some people that was flipping the Ali side and all of this stuff, right? Like, people, it was chaotic. And with this, it's kind of like him doing this in public to Ali makes Ali look weaker. So it's like, if you're doing this for business, I mean, you kind of are still hurting the business because you're making him look weak and like and the thing is too, is Fatty is younger than him, so it's kind of like it looks even more insulting. So it's kind of like you make your brother look weaker in public at the behest of business. I mean, he was just saying that you and Trey chose content over loyalty. So what does that make that situation? Because it's like that, you really could have just left that in the bag. Like you didn't, and then you also created a crack in your defenses. And maybe you wanted that for content to see who's gonna try to get through that crack, who's gonna expose that crack. But at the end of the day, you still hurt Ali's image in the process. So
Yeah.
But I don't agree with that because I think Ollie's a little bit like Mont too, where he don't give a fuck. So I think as long as you don't care kind of what people think, I don't think it's that big of a crack. You know what I'm saying? I do think you probably need to tighten up stuff so people don't run with stuff. But because me personally, I wouldn't care, man. I know how to make fun of myself. So I think some people are just there with it with this space where it's just like, man, people can say whatever they want to. I know who I am internally. So I think Ali's kind of like that.
I don't think Ali is that way. I think Ali is a very passionate, emotional guy. Maybe it's just because my experience with him when he crashed out on me, right? Maybe that's the reason that I say it. But maybe he's just not that way with Fatty, but he's a very extremely like passionate guy. So I don't know. And that's kind of like my big thing that I was thinking about is like, yo, I don't like dealing with niggas' emotions. I hate that, right? Because I'm a man and I got a woman. And I deal with her emotions. So like when I come on to like panels and stuff like that, and it's like niggas is mad at me and upset and like, I don't know. It's just like, that's one thing that I hate is dealing with a man's emotions. It's like, I don't have the time for that. I don't know. And that was the big thing that was like about the Ali situation was like, damn, like we supposed to be saying like, yo, you supposed to be like, yo, you said this and I ain't like that. And I'm supposed to be like, oh man, I didn't know you was gonna take it that way. I apologize. And we move on, right? But it was much more of an emotional situation than that. So, I don't know.
But it's similar to what's happening here because it was like things was piling up. So you noticed that, right? Not like with the Ali situation, there was stuff that they were saying about you that you did in the past that just stacked up, and then they finally addressed you, and then here it is again with P. Smurf, stuff stacked up, and then now it finally came out. So it's like, what is this trend? What is this pattern that we're seeing? Because it really is, and then it turns into a big blow up that you don't expect to go through, instead of just when something happens in the moment, have the conversation on the back end and resolve it. Don't let it build up for months, and then now you coming out full flame, like just ready to hurt somebody because you just let it build up.
Yeah.
Mont, let me ask you a question. Do you think like the one cat P. Smurf, you think if he had those feelings or something like that, if he was serious, he wasn't joking, you would have felt better about it if he would have like hit you up directly and be like, hey man, is that what you was kind of like trying to get down to when you was like
before the situation happened?
Yeah, before the live happened.
Yeah. Like if ever anything happens and he like, yo, I like to know what people think, because I'm like that. All right, nobody gonna know something that I think about. I'm not gonna like start to throw out a bunch of shit that I think about somebody at once, that I've never said. That's just not how I am, right? So pretty much everybody on the panel knows how I think about them, knows what I think. I think JT loud, right? But JT my guy. I've called him fucking loud. I think everything I think about Angry Man, he knows how I think like about all my opinions. Wolf Stacks knows all of my opinions about Wolf Stacks. Like, so, I just think I would have much rather known, like, or if he like, yo, I don't like playing like that, then tell me I don't like playing like that whenever I played with you before. It's like not even that. So it's just a bunch of things that I just didn't know. So that was the main issue.
Do you think like because I'm 46, so I'm kind of in that age group. Do you think like our age group sometimes little brothers y'all a little too much? Like, because I know we just grew up with that tough love.
Yeah.
So I get what they're saying is sometimes where they're like, hey man, we grew up like this, man. You guys are way too sensitive. I don't think that, but I'm just like, you think we run with that like too much?
Absolutely. I think but I think that's what I think that's one of the benefits of kind of I'm able to see that. Like, you know, when you grow up and you're able to see certain things about your parents, you're like, damn, I used to think this about you, but I kind of see that you're a real person and you got flaws, right? I kind of get to see the flaws in the older generation of, like, the same way that they think that they're not emotional, I'm actually not emotional, right? I can have this conversation and get the information out, and I'm truly not emotional. I don't have to yell. But they think that from their perspective, we gotta yell, we gotta kind of all that type of stuff. But I think that's a blind spot. You know, I'm trying to show y'all like, yo, we can just, if you, and this is what I tell my kids all the time. I say, like, whenever I hear my kids raising their voice at each other, I'll be like, yo, stop talking like that. Talk, lower your voice, say whatever you was about to say it normally, so that person can hear you, they can hear you. Like, we can just, I tell it to my kids all day. Like, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but I definitely think the older generation is like that. What you about to say, Dory?
Oh yeah, no worries. Thought you was done. I was gonna say, and I can understand, you know, people being passionate, and I know that it's used against men in these spaces when they get loud like that. They just say, "Oh, you know," people, especially women, will just say, "Oh, they're just crashing out." But I think it's good that they show their emotions, but it's kind of one of those things to where, you know, if you don't get to a resolution, then that's kind of where it is, right? Like I think I'm okay hearing people yell at each other, but it's like a lot of the times I just don't see that there being a resolution. It's just, let's just yell at each other. That's it. And it's just, and you still don't get nothing solved. So it's like, that's why it's just, you know, like, learn to regulate your emotions. It's okay to show emotion, but you got to regulate it. And as long as there's an end goal and you get to a resolution, you know, that's what you're striving for. So you got to remember that.
Yeah, like if I take, like, for example, I've seen Cell crash out a couple times, like, you know, scream at the top of his lungs. And I feel like both of those conversations led to nowhere. I feel like there was no resolve, right, in those conversations. So it's like it's not beneficial, and that's my main issue. If it made sense for me to yell, like, if I could get across to somebody, and at the end of that conversation, we would both have a new understanding, and we got done what we needed to get done, then I'll start yelling more. But it, it doesn't work. So
Yeah, I like what Ham said, man. He was like, you know, they had the whole live on Tone Matters. So yeah, it definitely does, man. Yelling ain't doing nothing. So I totally agree with you. But I do think, like, by my age group, because like I said, I was guilty of it too, man, where, like, one of my good friends, man, he's around your age and stuff, smart dude like you too, man. So, you know, I used to, because we grew up in that era, man, everybody just, that tough love, man. So I used to come at him like that, and we was about to get in a fight one day. So I had to, like, take a step back, look at it and be like, yeah, I was in the wrong, man. I am kind of like punking him a little bit. So I went up to him and apologized and stuff. So we had that resolution, and I, you know, now I watch how I speak to people and stuff.
yeah,
So I do think people gotta, like, look at stuff, how they talking to people.
yeah, and I think that's because you've gotten wiser, right? You've added something to your repertoire. You've like, oh, you know what? I don't have to communicate this way. It actually makes more sense for me to do it this way. Whereas the other old heads, they haven't reached that point. Maybe they'll never reach that point, but you've realized something. So you like, oh, I'm gonna move a little different.
But I do think these conversations is helping, because sometimes you just don't realize it till, like, a situation goes left. So that's what I'm saying. I think sometimes they look at you like a little brother too, and we're just always was taught to be harsh. So it comes off looking like fucked up, but it might not be like they are sinister, or, you know, they're like, fuck mine. It might actually be some like, nah, man, we toughen up our younger brother and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not even mad at that, right?
Yeah.
Because it may, listen, like, I can stand it with the hardest of them, right? Pause. Damn. I can I can stand it with the toughest of them, right? Like, and no emotions. I don't. It's rare that anybody ever sees me get emotional. Like, that's just, like, kind of my thing. It's like, oh, my don't give a fuck, right? So it's interesting because like the tough love aspect is like, well, what P Smurf did, that, I'm not gonna let them try to say it was tough love. Like he said he'll pull up and all that other type of shit, right? He was upset about something.
Yeah, that
he
was over the top.
He was upset about something. That he, whatever reason, it didn't get talked about. But in general, like I'm with the tough love shit. Like I'm with the tough love shit. I like that shit. You know, I'm a little bit rough with my kids, but at the same time, I'm a communicator. But it's sometimes it's time to be rough. You know, like if we had wrestling practice, like, you know, I'm a different dad. You know, so.
Oh, okay. You got your kids in wrestling?
Hell yeah, all three of them.
Did you used to wrestle?
No, I didn't. I thought it was
Okay,
when I was younger. I thought it was gay. But, yeah, I thought they wearing all them tight things all on each other. But you know, I just got a little wiser, and I started to you know, as an older person, I'm like, yo, this is one of the best things that I could ever give my kids, is that discipline, that athleticism, that ability to wrestle. It's like it's not many. I think it's one of the best sports in the world, like wrestling.
Nah, it's gonna make them tough, man. Nah, I wrestled in high school, man.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, I know it's gonna make them tough. It's one of the, as far as like the conditioning, the athleticism, and it translates to so many other things in life, right? If you got that ability to, you know, give you good knees, you know, lower body strength, flexibility. Yeah, I think it's one of the best things I could ever give them.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Man, going back to that Cheyenne video though, because I was gonna ask y'all, like I was gonna send a super chat when y'all was having a live the other day, asking y'all, do you think she's kind of a control freak, and the reason like she kind of wild out towards the end, she's used to being in an environment, say like Shannon Sharp and those type of guys, she's getting like softball questions, kind of getting her ass kissed. So when somebody give her a little bit of pushback, I was surprised that she wild out like that. So do you think she prefers to be in those environments that she can kind of control, or?
Nah, you know, I'm gonna play this video for y'all. From
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna play this tour video so that y'all can have the information that I have. Share the screen. Right here.
Video creators, I just found a software that color grades for you. So I came across Imagination.
You've mastered the art of being a doctor on television.
I worked with Cheyenne Bryant on a TV show for about 6 months last year.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
And we got into a massive intellectual argument that came up through multiple episodes of the show. And that told me a lot. Basically, I totally saw this coming.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one.
So previous to watching that other video, I saw this one, right? So I already heard him say that they've been going at it show after show, right? I heard him say that. So I had that context. So maybe other people didn't have that context, or maybe that played a part, you know? But
so you looking at it like he's kind of fishing for like a response.
Yeah, like he's already told me, y'all, they got history and they beefing, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes a difference. But yeah, homie, he need to come out the closet. God damn it.
Yeah, he's very feminine. Let me finish. Let me play the rest.
One on TV.
The first time I talked with her, she told me she had 3 degrees. And I said, what schools did she go to? A lot of people are saying stuff like that. What school did she go to? Did she actually finish a doctorate? Did she actually write a dissertation? All of these simple questions were answered in a convoluted way during a press tour from hell that is damaging her image, one bad answer after another. This is probably the worst press tour of all time.
I played a doctor on television.
The problem with playing a doctor on TV and acting like that means you're a real doctor is that people think you're giving them help from a place of deep education, and you're not. Maybe you can actually be helpful for real for some people some of the time, but there's lots of therapists who've gone through the academy, the whole academy, and can easily prove that, who are deeply, deeply trained on how to help people who are in complicated situations.
I'm not a real doctor, but I play one on TV. but I can probably be a little helpful. You're dealing with something.
And they are licensed so that the world can know you can trust this person.
I'm surprised by this Cheyenne Bryant controversy because I never thought she had a PhD. Like, never. Something about her always gave honorary doctorate at best.
So when the press tour from hell took her to the mighty Joe Budden podcast, the trouble started. She explained that she was not licensed as a therapist anymore. And she did this in a very haughty tone, as though we were the dummies and she had to educate us. She made it sound like we had not been actively listening, and that was the problem. It was so condescending.
And right here, I agree with him. So up until that point, absolutely, I agree with him when it came to, the Cheyenne Bryant and going on the podcast, and when she tried to educate us on why the licensor and type of shit.
Made it seem like being licensed had been holding her back somehow, and being unlicensed had freed her to be the best life coach and psychology expert possible. I don't know what a psychology expert is. That led to a wild storm online. Practically all of the Black licensed therapists on TikTok jumped up to explain that she's talking nonsense. You need licensure.
Hello, my name is Dr. Raquel Martin. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, professor of sciences, and podcast host who specializes in Black health and well-being. And I want to break down a clip from the Joe Budden podcast featuring someone who presents herself as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
That is incredibly misleading. Yes, you do need a license to bill insurance, but that is not why licensure exists. Licensure protects you. It means I have completed specific education and supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and I'm accountable to a regulatory board.
So after the Joe Budden podcast, the press tour from hell took Cheyenne to the Breakfast Club, where she made it worse. They asked her basically, hey girl, where's your dissertation? She went into a long, roundabout, convoluted non-planation of why she can't get her transcript that sounded a lot like a digital version of The Dog Ate My Homework.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online.
It's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Why I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So do you want us to refund you?
Hit pause real quick.
Or do you want us not? I said no. Because
So do y'all believe anything she's saying at this point, though?
Fuck no.
Yeah, that's she messed up right here, man. Some things she might as well just stay disappeared and left this alone, boy.
I think that she tried to. I don't fucking know. I don't even know if she got her master's. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I question it too. And I know people, some people said that she might have had honorary doctorate and all that
She
stuff.
does have an
but-
honorary doctorate. She recorded
Yeah.
that. She recorded that. She posted on her page. Like we can see her get her honorary doctorate, but we don't see her get her actual doctorate, which is interesting, right?
Yes.
Because that's a hell of an achievement. I'm not one of those people like, man, that shit on people that if they get education. Because, you know, I know that time and effort that people got to put into them doctorate programs. So, yeah, you ain't losing them transcripts. You're going to have a copy somewhere. Because, you know, I got a master's. My shit ain't as prestigious as no doctorate. So I know damn well, like, them people that got a doctorate degree, you got that shit somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that means a lot to people. To me, yeah, it means a lot to people, and I get it. Especially women, for whatever reason, like they wear that shit on they fucking sleeve once they get something like that. But the question for me is like, why doesn't she have her doctorate? That's what I'm curious of. Because it could be a thing where it was a financial issue, could have been an issue of like, you know what, I don't think I need it. Or it could have been an issue of I'm trying, but I just cannot pass this class. Right? Like,
Pass the
I'm just
class.
curious yeah. Because it's like, of course she doesn't need her doctorate. She don't need none of that stuff because she's extremely talented, to me. I think she's talented, even though I think a lot of times she's full of shit. But the talent part of I can speak poetically almost like a pastor. I can make people think I know what I'm talking about. All of that stuff is valuable. And I find that she normally she starts off by saying something that's extremely like for example, when she said nobody ever told me that they told me about pretty privilege, but nobody told me about pretty punishment, right? When you say stuff like that, people are like, oh, ooh, ah, you said pretty punishment. That's some shit, right? And then from there, she goes and she sprinkles in like God, she sprinkles in a little bit of a lie, and she starts to go to another place. But I think that she has the talent to get people to listen to her.
So based on what you're saying, oh, sorry about that. Go ahead, Dory.
Go ahead, Dory.
Did y'all hear me when I said that?
No, I ain't even hear you. My fault. I was over talking.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, just to elaborate, persuasive, charismatic, good at public speaking. That's all I was gonna say with that.
Oh, okay. But what Mont just described, that sounded like a talented scammer, though.
Yeah, it's like a pastor. Yeah, it's like you have the ability to move people, you know, and it's a talent that I think more. I would like more people who want to do positive things, like maybe Martin Luther King, you know, maybe Obama. Like all of these people share these abilities. You know, you say like, how do you use this ability? But Obama had it to the T. You know, that nigga talk, you listen.
Nah, definitely.
So
yeah, so she definitely has some speaking skills. So I do give her that. But do you guys think, man, like for her to have all this insight into like relationships and, you know, people's mindsets and stuff, do you think that's a gig that she don't have like a solid relationship? Would you hold that against her, just being in the position and the knowledge that she has on these relationship dynamics?
Absolutely. So I'm not a person who thinks that people who aren't married can't give marriage advice, or that people who aren't parents can't give parental advice. However, I do listen to what you say, and I try to see how it makes sense. But the problem is, I don't think Cheyenne has been in a long-term, like, tell me about have you been married? You know? You don't got to be married. Like, for example, Trey is divorced. So he can tell us something, right? I know people who aren't in that position, but it's like they've been in long-term relationships. But if you can't tell me about, you know, a past marriage or long-term relationship that you've been in, it's like, I do think that can matter to a degree.
Okay.
Agree. I was gonna say too is you could be very. I've never been married, and I've been able to help people with their marriage issues myself. And it comes down to skill set. It comes down to the power of observation and just being able to, it comes down to power of observation, conflict resolution, and just being able to dissect and see things from a lot of different perspectives. So, I mean, you don't necessarily need to have a degree for that. And then you also can still help people even if you didn't actually, you're not actually in the marriage or you didn't have a long-term relationship. Just having that skill set, you can still contribute and help people with that alone.
No, I agree with both of y'all. Cause yeah, I feel you could take advice from anybody. So I'm not one of the one that buys people in. But I think when you slap that term, what she used, psychological expert.
Yeah, some
Yeah, I think when you slap that expert terminology on you, it's like, all right, you got to show and prove at that point. You know, when you separate yourself from the pack, you put those identifiers on you. Nah, you gotta show something.
And it's interesting because when you say that you're a woman of God, right? It's only it's only a certain degree that psychologically can come into play, because at the end of the day, you already have your everything that you think and believe comes from the book, right? You can't go against it, right? Unless you're going against, like, I think God should have changed when he said this. I think he should have said this, right? You can't do that. So it's like most of the things that you're going to be telling me is really from the book, right? Because she claims to be a Christian woman who's like, you know, let God take the wheel type shit. So, let me play the finish playing.
Because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, I do this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just in
They
general.
are going to kill you online this week. They're going to say she has no.
Yo, I think that's the most crazy thing to me. For you to just lie with such a straight face. There's no holding tank for our records. So what you just did was you took everybody who's ever been to Argosy, whoever been to that college, and you just threw them all into it. And that's one of the flaws you made. Oh, like, now they're like, yo, no, there is a holding tank for our records, right? Like, I can go get my shit today. Her alibi should have been exclusive to her. So for whatever reason that you can't get your records, it should have been like, oh, this is a reason that I can't get it. Versus saying like, oh, the school don't have, like, none of us can get our shit. Now, bitch, like, you lying. So.
Yeah, you got to have a level of like ego to lie like this in a digital age, man, when people could, like you said, verify and. So yeah, she definitely got something wrong. Where do you think like her and Torre, man, it was like a battle of egos at this point? Because it kind of seemed like they both super egotistical, man.
Yeah, I think it was slightly a battle of the egos, but also slightly a battle of, yeah, I think it was a battle of the egos. So Torre's going to talk about the child thing, and that's what really that's why I started to disagree with Torre when it came to the gentle parenting. So it's a level of arrogance in the in different professions, whereas, so I'm the type of person that if I have questions, I'm going to ask them. And I find that a lot of times, people who are in these certain professions aren't necessarily researchers, but they're regurgitators. So my mind works like a researcher. I want to know everything. I want to know how do you come to this conclusion and stuff like that. Whereas somebody who's a psychologist, like, to a degree, I'm just regurgitating what I've read and learned, right? So this is what I've been told to think. And I ask a lot of questions that ends up getting me answers that other people don't even have in that profession. For example, I researched like gentle parenting versus more what's it called? Not authoritative, but like, beating your kids and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that it should be a balanced approach. I think that it should be a tool that's in your toolbox if ever needed. Now, hopefully, you never have to beat your kids, but some kids you might have to do it at a certain point. So I looked that up and I found a lot of interesting research. Even though a lot of people in that field will say you just never do it, I found out why they say you never do it, and I found out that it's not applicable to everybody.
Why they say you shouldn't do it though? What's the?
So overall, when you take all of the data that's been gathered, right, of everybody who's whooping their kids, it's a higher chance that it will have a negative impact. Because when you think about it, if I'm a father and I get drunk every night and I come home and I whoop my kid's ass, I'm calculated into that study, right? If I'm a stupid parent who's not very educated and I tend to whoop my kid's ass for every little reason, or if I'm frustrated, I'm a frustrated parent who's I'm emotionally like, with the wind, I just, I whoop my kid whenever I think I need to whoop my kid, right? All of these parents are the people who are calculated into this study. They're not thinking about people who consider themselves to be like me, right? I have an extremely amazing relationship with my kids, very affectionate. I'm a very loving dad, right? Never really have to ever put my hands on my kids, ever. Hopefully I never will really have to put my hands on my kids. But somebody who's balanced, right, like me, who's only going to use it when necessary, I'm not very represented inside of this study, right? I'm very on the small side. So when they give this advice like, yo, just don't do it, that's because they're giving you a blanket advice to everybody, right? Versus tailored advice. When you go to a doctor, you can go to your doctor and they'll tell you some bullshit that they tell everybody. Whereas you like, you know what? I got to go to a specialist. I want to go to a specialist and see what they tell me. Or like when you go somewhere and they got to ask you like, yo, tell me about your medical history, because I have to give you advice specifically for you, right? But this advice to don't beat your kids is blanket advice. So it's like if they had to tell everybody in the world what to do and what not to do, it would lean more towards don't whoop your kids versus whoop your kids.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Hopefully, I know I talk a lot.
But you said like leave it, like some tools on the table, like.
Yeah, don't limit yourself, right?
Okay.
Like have all of these tools in your toolbox for whenever you might need them. Don't say like, yo, I don't never whoop my kids.
Yeah, that's the because I heard these debates and people, like you said, they'll take a hard stance, and I was like, man, look, I was a knucklehead when I was young. I definitely needed my ass whooped. That was the only thing that was no talk was gonna sit there and work me out. It was I needed them tools like you was talking about, so to straighten me out. So
and you find that like honestly, you find that people who haven't been whooped a lot of times they have these things where they do feel like the world revolves around them, and you typically find that with a lot of women. A lot of women never been punched in the face, so they think they can do whatever they want to say whatever they want, right? A lot of women haven't got their ass whooped, but they dad don't whoop their ass. They be like, oh, I don't whoop my daughters and stuff like that. Like I would never do that. And you find that with like a lot of like niggas like Tor, like the passive aggressive, the condescending, like all of that type of shit. Like and preferring to communicate. I don't prefer to communicate that way, right? Like I don't want to. That's like community. That's like how girls operate. I don't like that shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually had, I got whoopings when I was younger, and I actually had a positive outcome from it. Like I'm very disciplined, and I'm very structured. So I mean that's just one of those, nuanced cases with me.
Yeah. What up, SD? But I will admit that it can absolutely have negative effects on your children if you don't use it right.
Yeah, and in my case, it was definitely used right. So, yeah.
Yeah, same with me. It was like a last resort, So I see what you're saying. Like you said, you should try to do the other methods first. Then, if none of them work and you got to go that route, it's like, man, you do got the responsibility to like give your kids the best, punishment.
Yeah, I just put my son on punishment last week, right? Cause he was acting up in school. He was he got into a fight, but then like they said that he weren't listening to the adults after he got into the fight, so he had to be on punishment. Where my punishment is you just sit on the couch all day. Don't have fun. Don't jump around. Don't just sit on the couch, right? So that impacted him to so hard that like the nigga was like crying like somebody whooped his ass, right?
Okay.
Like I'm like I leave and my girl like she like, yo, are you downstairs? I'm like, no, I'm not there. I'm like, I just talked to him, but I'm not there. She like, cause he's crying like somebody's whooping his ass or something. I'm like, yo, you still here or something? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not here. Like that's how he hated sitting on the fucking couch and not being able to do nothing that bad. So
Yeah, it's similar because the other punishments I had when I was younger is I used to have to sit in the corner and just like face the corner. So that's similar to that. But the other thing my parents did is they made us write lines. So like if I lied about something, I have to write 500 times, I will not lie, I will not lie. So that we used to have that punishment too. So I don't know if anybody else experienced that, but that was something.
It's not fun, you know? And the time, you know, you'll have to whoop your kid's ass if they refuse to do the punishment, right? Then you might have to like, all right, now I have to take it to the next level, right? But most kids, they'll, you know, they respect you. Like you don't have to, you know, get to that degree sometimes.
How old is your boys though, man? If you don't mind me asking.
My son is 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You got a couple more years, man. You got them in wrestling. They gonna fold your ass up in a minute. Mark gonna be like, go sit on that couch. They be like, what? Nah, I mess with you, Mark.
That's why I gotta. I mean, hopefully my son be as big as me, man. That's what I hope. His mom's smaller than me, but hopefully he can be my size. I think he's big now, but hopefully you know, that's what I want for in his future. Hopefully he will be able to kick my ass. But
nah, they had a respect for you. They ain't gonna overstep that line, but nah, that'd be funny though.
But I
don't want to see you on live, man, with a black eye. Like, yeah, man, you know, I try to put him in his room.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
No records?
It's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me, it's any student that attended Argosy.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Nina can't code. Interesting.
Other people have pointed out that you can still get a transcript from her college that closed right now today.
I asked Google to get your records from the closed Argosy University. You should order transcripts and diplomas online through Parchment, right? So now Parchment is the third-party company that she's speaking on. How long does Parchment hold on to transcripts from Argosy University? Parchment generally maintains access to digital records for closed institutions like Argosy University, often holding them for decades or indefinitely.
Today, May the 13th, 2026, I went ahead and I paid to see if I could get my transcript and how long it would take. I received a receipt. Then it says access transcripts.
He got access to his transcripts within minutes.
Many people have pointed that out.
As someone that holds the degree from the university that Miss Bryant reports herself to have, I have several questions and several points of clarification that will be made. The first is that the degree that she is speaking to is a Doctor of Education in Counseling Psychology from Argosy University. Parchment now holds all of the documentation from every student that attended that university. So she has access to her transcripts indefinitely. When you obtain a doctorate, people like to verify your credentials and verify that you obtained that degree. Moreover, you had to have completed a dissertation. I know because I did it for that degree. There are things that you should know off the top of your head, like what the title of your dissertation is. Mine is the Alabama KCREP and non-KCREP Counselor Education Graduate Students Readiness to Counsel Substance Use Disorder Clients. What is yours? Who's your dissertation chair? Mine was Dr. David Arena. I had one reader. You should have access to your dissertation, even if you don't have the full one, which is odd because they send you that too. You should have each chapter broken down because you send it in chapters. So where is it? And why are you unwilling to provide that information? Your clients deserve verification of your credentials. It is a part of our ethical compass and codes to do so. Not just with licensure, with any credentials that you use. The ACA 2014 ethical codes and standards require that any credential that you use needs to be backed up and verified and verifiable to all related boards and most especially to the client seeking your services. So the fact that you aren't willing to do that is problematic. It's disrespectful to the profession. It's disrespectful to your purported colleagues and most detrimentally to your clients. Please stop using them until you are willing to verify. Thank you.
So she's lying about being unable to get her transcripts. Within the long, winding story about being unable to get her transcripts, she said she had done it to apply to work at a law school. But she's never even claimed to have a law degree, so how are you going to teach at a law school with no law? But the question was not about transcripts, a record of the classes she took. It was about her dissertation, the big paper you write at the end that is the culmination of your academic career. If she had done a dissertation, she would be able to pull it up out of her computer, or it would be on already. It's wrote a dissertation and now have no copies of it anywhere in the world and no way to access it. If you can't show it, if you can't prove you have a doctorate, if you can't provide any evidence, then maybe you should stop saying you have it.
Cheyenne Bryant went through all them loops and hoops to not clear up shit. So let me actually clear up what she was trying to say. What she was trying to say is, I don't have a doctorate degree. There is no dissertation. There is no documentation. I cannot show you a doctorate degree. But I am a master's level clinician without licensure. That's what she said. She went on there and said, people just want to hate me. People online just want to hate me. Nobody hates this woman. But we as a community have a right to shift the narrative away from this grifting, online, social media bullshit and put our community back in the hands of professionals with years of education and years of applicable experience to the thing that they are calling themselves an expert in. And while she does have some knowledge, she does have some education, she does not have the credentials to talk as fucking heavy as she do and or to be providing anybody with any life assistance.
You've mastered the art of being a doctor on television.
How can you even imagine someone who did all that work and has no receipts? And when someone asks you for receipts, you refuse to. This was the thrust of her next interview on the press tour from hell, because Marissa Mitchell in DC did not come to play.
Why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees, and my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles, it's in how effective I've been. All of my sessions have been live for the most part. My sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone, they have all been for the world to see. Right? So no one knew who Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were
quick,
live. And they deemed it.
So is she like trying to use the interviews as like sessions? That's what she's saying. That's her body of work.
Craziest thing ever.
Yeah,
She said, yeah, my sessions have been live. What? Like that when she was on Cam Newton and Nick Cannon, like the thing about therapy is like you're not supposed to be telling people what to do. Now you don't go to a therapist and they're like, yo, you shouldn't be having all those baby moms. Like that's not how therapy works.
Yeah.
You know?
But didn't she get like exposed in those interviews too? Like they kind of like started questioning her and exposing some stuff.
Paul Pierce.
I know. I think Cam Newton kind of pressed her a little bit too, because I know Paul Pierce definitely did. So I'm like, man, that's your body of work.
Yeah, I didn't.
You getting exposed like that?
Yeah, I didn't watch the
great.
Paul Pierce one. I mean, I didn't watch the Cam Newton one fully. I just saw her part. But yeah, like these. Let me see if I can. There's a portion of this where he starts to talk about like children. Let me see.
About the soft parenting?
Yeah.
Oh, on the air, I'm not talking about anything behind the scenes. Story. For several months last year, we did a 4-person talk show where she and I were the lead voices. I tried to get clips of it, but the third party that holds the records only holds on to old videos for 2 years. So on the show, we kept coming back to the same intellectual argument. All of this was on the show, on the air. I'm not talking about anything behind the scenes. For me, at the core of this intellectual argument was what y'all have been saying through this press tour from hell. Is she really an academic? Is she really a doctor? See, I'm a parent of 2 teenagers, and I believe because I have read and researched a lot on the subject. I believe parents should not hit children as punishment. There should be no corporal punishment in the home. I know that's triggering to a lot of people who are not child psychologists, but every major child psychologist today says it is definitely harmful to children.
People say, I hit my child to teach them. That's not how the brain works. A child cannot take in new information when they're in survival mode because all that oxygenated blood goes to the muscles to do all that fight or flight mode work. They're not hearing you. They're not processing information. They're trying to survive the moment.
That wasn't an educated thing to say. I mean, an intelligent thing to say, right? That's like saying, when you put your hand in fire, you don't learn from that in the moment, right? You're not able to learn that fire is bad. Yes, you are.
Right.
Like, nobody's beating their kids and by the time the kids got the whooping, they know what they did wrong.
The reason I hate these conversations, man, because I'm like you, man. You got to use whatever tool, man. Definitely, like you said, it should be an escalation. Spanking should be the last resort. But say like I listen to everybody and I don't never do that, and I got a bad kid, they're gonna look at you, say like your kid's out there and they're doing some stuff, they're gonna be like, oh, that parent must have never disciplined that child. So you're kind of, you just gotta ignore shit. Like you said, definitely like educate yourself on this, man. Use it as a last tool. But it's like, man, at the end of the day, you that parent and you gotta make sure you do whatever you can to make sure your kids can function in society, because you're gonna get that blame if your kid is bad and shit.
Exactly. Right? Like, and this is the thing, right? It's almost like this person that was talking is probably a child therapist, right? Licensed and all that type of shit, right? And you would you'd like to think like, yo, I don't want to have to come off arrogant like I'm, somebody who has no education and thinks that they know better than you. But it's like, yo, you my hands is tied. You saying something stupid, right? Like,
Does spanking actually work?
No. And this is really important for people to know is the data is clear on this, and no child development researcher would ever tell you that spanking is a good idea at this point. No child development researcher would ever tell you that spanking is a good idea.
Most people. So when I did the research on this, right, I did really deep research and I used my my AI, but I used several ones, and I had them all communicate with each other to come to a consensus of like, what is the actual reason? And what I spoke to you about earlier is like, essentially it's blanket advice. So I can ask it like, yo, is it possible that if a therapist tells me under no circumstance should I whoop my kids, is it possible that they can be giving me the wrong advice as an individual? They say, yes, that could be the wrong advice for you as an individual. And that's pretty much the point that I'm trying to make is like, when certain people who aren't necessarily researchers give you advice like that lady, it's not an overwhelming consensus that whooping your kids is blanket just bad. And that's what I found through the research, right? So, but they'll deliver it like it is.
People using ChatGPT and Claude are leaving 80% of the value on the table. Here's how the top 1% of
the first time I said on the show that there should be no corporal punishment for children, I assumed that Cheyenne would, of course, co-sign that because she's a family and marriage therapist, or so I thought she was. She claims to have a master's in family and child therapy. Surely someone who studied this deep in this field would agree with the major child psychologists of today. No, she said, and I quote, that gentle parenting stuff doesn't work. Wow. I was blown away that a person with a master's in child therapy and family therapy would seriously advocate for corporal punishment. The topic came up repeatedly like every other show, and every time I said corporal punishment is wrong.
Can you hit pause real quick? I got a quick question for y'all. Is corporal punishment the right word to be using for this?
I don't think so.
That's kind of harsh, isn't it? Like a harsh terminology.
it would seem it feels harsh. It feels like you're saying you know, really be a whoop your kid's ass all the time. That's what I hear. But I think it's he's overstating it like he did on the show. He's missing purposefully distorting her position. That's what I see.
Yeah, because I get it, man. People don't like it, but I'm like, corporal punishment. It's like I'm gonna have to go look that up, man. Because that sounds like harsh as hell with it. You know, they're saying it like that.
Yeah, and this is where I disagree with him. Like, you're saying that you question her credentials because she doesn't believe in the shit that you're saying that is essentially a fact. Like, oh, if you think that you shouldn't be gentle parenting, then you can't be a professional. I think that's crazy. Some people will disagree with you, bro.
It's an opinion built on consuming modern child psychology. And every time she would say that gentle parenting stuff doesn't work. I was blown away by her opinion and by how she expressed herself. That gentle parenting stuff doesn't work is not how an intellectual talks. That's anti-intellectual. You're dismissing and denigrating and looking down on violence-free parenting. Shouldn't you, an advocate for talk therapy of all people, be advocating for talking solutions rather than violent solutions? A real academic would not say things like, that gentle parenting stuff doesn't work. They might somehow outline a perspective explaining why violence is sometimes acceptable in parenting, which is a laughable concept, but there is a way to express that idea that fits with the way people who come out of the academy tend to talk. That gentle parenting stuff doesn't work is not how an intellectual would talk. Certainly not one who's in the family and child psychology field. I appreciate all of those who are saying, girl, where are your official credentials? That matters. But also, usually, we can hear your credentials when you talk. When I talk to my friends, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, Dr. Melissa Harris Perry, Dr. Cornell West, I don't have to ask what school they went to. I can hear the academy tumbling out of their mouths. I can hear it in their perspective and in the way they express themselves. When she talked, I couldn't hear advanced degrees. So now that people are saying, hey girl, where did you go to school? Are you actually a doctor? I'm like, I get it. She plays a doctor on TV.
You've mastered the art of being a doctor on television.
So I've earned the title, I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment all the things.
So I was gonna say something in regards to this, like I tried to say on Trey's channel, but didn't get on the panel. When it comes to degrees, like sometimes I don't use that as to validate your credibility, so to speak. I use your actions in real time and your knowledge and how you apply that to validate your credibility. And the reason I say that is because as somebody who has a degree in the biological sciences, I can do the same work that a doctor can or a physician can. And because of that, when I go to hospitals, a lot of times I have seen physicians who have these PhDs just purposely give out the wrong information and not diagnose illnesses correctly. So it's a question of like, how are you applying this knowledge that you obtain and how effective is it and what are the results you're getting? Because a lot of times somebody could get a degree and then they never actually apply that knowledge in real life, or it's just dormant. So it's just kind of like, well, does it even matter at that point? So that's what I wanted to say on that.
Yeah, I think I don't use anybody's degrees to validate them either. I think that's I think it's a very shallow thing to do, and I think it tends to be with people who I think intelligent people can see other intelligent people whether they have a degree or not. So
Right.
somebody who's an intelligent person with a degree can acknowledge somebody who doesn't have a degree and be like, oh, this person's intelligent. They know what they're talking about, right? Versus seeing somebody with a degree who's not intelligent, because I see it too often. People who aren't able to think outside of the box and the framework that they were given. I see that a lot, and I'm able to identify it, which causes me to question people with degrees. You know?
Exactly.
No, y'all both said some good stuff because I agree with y'all. But I do think like when you start getting into I say like healthcare, the psychological mental space, I do think it matters to a certain degree where, you know, because you're messing with people's health, you know, and even, you know, when she's trying to play slick and use the psychological expert, it's like, man, that's dangerous because even when you're messing with people in relationships, they could easily, you know, spiral out of control. So it's just like, man, you want to make sure that you have the proper credentials because you might have to, you know, prescribe some stuff. And then if you can't prescribe stuff, somebody was saying like you have to send them to somebody else. But what happened if they lapse in that time period? So that's why I'm like, nah, you got to have those credentials. You got to, not saying it will make you smart, but you need to have those checks and balances when you're dealing with that type of stuff.
I agree, because that's the thing with healthcare too. Like when you're a physician, you're prescribing medication and all of that stuff. I agree. It's just a matter of applying that knowledge and using it effectively, because some people don't do that. And then, you know, you got the wrong people in these spaces and they give the wrong medication and people lose their lives, stuff like that. So.
Yeah. But like, for example, I got like a degree in business. You know, so that'll make me smarter than like, I know Eda Man guy's business. I know you and like Willie and shit. So I don't know, have more knowledge than you guys in that shit. So yeah, that's where I'll say the education would be irrelevant.
I think it's necessary, like in the field you spoke about, it's extremely necessary because it's what I find about Cheyenne Bryant. Like you can say a couple good things, but then she gets to a point where she's just making shit up, right? And the thing about these fields is, like, I think the main part is just you being responsible, right? They can hold you responsible. And they give you a framework to go off. Of course, one person may be more brilliant than the other one, but that brilliant person still has that framework. Like, for example, a lot of therapists use what is called the Gottman method. I remember when I went to therapy, they told me he uses the Gottman method, and this is the framework that we'll be working through, right? So I think that that's really important for a therapist, on top of also you being held accountable if you fuck me up.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yes. What's up, Mutt, man? Shout out to Mutt. He got his page. I'm watching this craziness. I actually disagree with y'all. You know, so I disagree with all three. I think you don't need no degree. I think that a lot of people I wish she would have just played into the truth. I think that's what made this look bad. I don't like that she lied. She tried to say that she had something she did not have. And I think that's why she put herself in the corner. But I think she would have came out like Dr. Umar is, I don't need a white man certification to prove that I can talk common sense to Black people. I have been around Black people. I do have a degree. I got, like he said, because it's very common that people have a business in one thing and they go do something else, right? They just says that they have the credentials. All of us took a psychology class if you finish college, right? So like you can build up, and I kind of get what Mont's saying is, if we're gonna stay in the box and do therapy, we got to have the framework. But what I believe that helps people, because I ain't going to no therapist. I call my mama, and I know my mama ain't got no degree, but my mama will help me through most stuff in my life that a therapist couldn't help me through, right? So I do agree that my point that I'm saying is that we don't need degrees. We don't have to do what the white person tell us we got to do. But what we do have to do is tell the truth. And I think what people are holding her accountable for today is not telling the truth, saying that you got something that you do not hold. And this dude is out of his mind. Talking about there's no reason you should have corporate punishment when we live in a world with corporate punishment. Because if you don't do what they say in that jail cell, what they gonna do? They gonna use corporate punishment. Everything. If I don't listen to the cop, corporal punishment. And and the problem is when people start talking about this quote unquote gentle parenting, they said you should never put your hands on it, but your kids can put their hand on you, Mutt, and you supposed to still stay as a victim. Man, this is crazy talk. It is certain situations that you need to use quote unquote corporate punishment. And it was some times in my life, I'm glad my daddy showed me that I didn't run the house and we was in a full-blown fight. I needed that. I needed to be checked as a man, a young man. Understand that there's levels to authority. So this is full of crap. And I hate that he had her and he tried to paint his agenda. And I feel like that's what made him jump off the cliff.
You know,
I was gonna say, Eda Man, I'm not saying you need a degree because like I said, right, I have a degree in the biological sciences, but I can do better work than a physician who actually has a PhD. So there are those of us that with or without degrees, we could have more knowledge and more expertise than somebody who does have the degree. That's why it's like I don't base credentials based on you having said degree. It's based on your applied knowledge and the results that comes from it. And you can not have a degree to have that. So it's like that's what I trust the most. Because we do see a lot of people in these spaces that say they have a degree, and then when you hear them speak or when you hear them try to apply the knowledge, it's not there. The results don't match what's supposed to follow with their curriculum. So it's like I definitely don't agree to have it. Like it's.
do y'all think that do y'all think mental health is just seen differently than actual like being a typical MD, right? Like mental health is taken less seriously, so we think that we don't actually need certain levels of schooling and stuff like that to do it.
No, I think that it's an option. So, for example, I think what I'm saying is I think that we look at it. Let me say I think that it's on the same level as if I was talking about a surgeon. I feel like people who don't have degrees should be able to do surgeries. I think they just supposed to display it and be honest. Hey, by the way, hey, I done did about 4 or 5 surgeries, but I don't have the white man degree. I just want to be honest. You got the right to take the risk if you want me to do this surgery on you or not. But I can tell you right now, I done did 8 of them. Like, and they should. So
real time work.
So that's the only point that I'm saying is I'm not saying that you need quote unquote to be certified. I'm telling you, especially we redid a roof. Like I'm telling you, I done did a lot of work with people. And I was like, bro, did you go to school for carpentry? Nah, man, I just been out here getting it. Hey, you went to school for electrician? No, I ain't no certified. Like I'm telling you, like when you really start diving into it, and I get that we think doctors are special, your experience can replace your degrees. And we're seeing this in the workforce that people say if you got the equal amount of experience, they'll take that for replacement of your degree. So that's the point that I'm making, Mark.
Go ahead.
I got push back for that. Eda Man gonna have us looking like where the people be going for them BBLs like Turkey and because I see what Eda Man saying to a certain degree. So I do think you could get a lot of like help. I say because if I say I had a situation with my relationship, I would go to somebody like Eda Man. So I definitely think he's solid and stuff. Or like you guys on the panel. But I do think like when it comes to like giving out medication, because that one guy, Justin Fairfax, the one that deleted himself and his wife, those type of people got something going on. And I do think like people need to have like some education mixed in with experience. Yes. So like I don't think the education needs to be so focused on like book work, like Eda Man saying, but it's like somebody need to verify that you got some like damn experience.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that. Hold on. No, I agree that people should be able to say for you to give out medication, you have to have a degree. But for me to talk to you, I don't need a degree because you're sitting in my office on my couch.
So that's where we disagree, right? That's still treating somebody. No, it's not medication, right? It's not like a substance, but it's still treating somebody, and they can, and that substance, that verbal substance you're giving them can lead to great harm possibly. And my thing is this, right? It sounds like you're saying that you're speaking really against insurance, right? Because most of these things is like insurance. So a licensed electrician versus a non-licensed electrician, typically that a non-licensed electrician can't be insured. You know, like electrician might market to you like, yeah, I'm licensed, I'm insured, I'm all of this because he's a master electrician. We don't think about the bad shit. We only think about the good shit. Like, for example, my mom husband came and he installed my Tesla charger and on my house. I trusted him to do that, right? And I had a good experience. But it's somebody somewhere who dealt with somebody who wasn't licensed who had a really bad fucking experience, right? And there was nowhere that they can go to. There's no insurance that they can have for this individual. I think it's the same thing with being a doctor, you know? But I agree with you to a degree of like, I think that there can be some people extremely gifted, but I think that you should have both.
Well, you got to remember, I am anti-insurance. Let me tell you why I say this. Let me state this first. I was having a conversation with, so insurance is for broke people. If anybody ever don't agree, disagree, hands down insurance for broke people, right? It's never been an insurance company that went out of business because it's a scam. I promise you, it's a scam. They make money in every situation, guaranteed, point blank period, right? So I do agree with that. But no, I think that if we really free to make our own decisions, I should be able to do my own risk. For example, sophisticated jerk, if I want to drive my car with no insurance, it should not be a law that says that I have to have insurance if I'm really free. It should be like, I am responsible, quote unquote. I hit your car, you can sue me, I have to take care of your car. That's the point that my whole point is that you can't force me to do something.
So you
But
think,
Eat a Man, say not you, because I know you getting that paper. But say there's a broke person that ain't got that money. What am I suing them for?
It's
Don't the
called the
insurance
loss.
kind of like make sure I'm whole?
But no, because uninsurance, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you care about that, you should have uninsurance motors on your car. If you care about, like I'm saying, if you run around here worried about you gonna run into somebody who don't got insurance, 'cause you gotta remember, it's a group of people who don't got insurance. So the rule don't apply to everybody. Let's be clear.
Okay. No,
And,
I got you.
and if somebody hits your car and you say, I'm worried about you not having enough money, you need to say, well, I want insurance because I value insurance. You can't now make me get insurance because of your value system.
I think it works out better that we make people have insurance for their own cars also.
It doesn't.
I think it works out better because if my insurance doesn't cover it, your insurance can cover it. Like things like different things like that. Of, you know, they might be like, oh, we're not gonna cover this, but no, you got to cover it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's called responsibility and accountability. We all like it's supposed to be a level of responsibility and accountability because I decided I wanted to drive. And it's risk in driving. There's no guarantees.
Yeah,
Eat a
but
Man, what is also Wild Wild West type stuff, man. Shout out to Eat a Man.
I think it makes perfect sense. I think it makes perfect sense that before you come and try to do this privilege, right? Because driving is a privilege. Before you try to come and do this privilege, you got to make sure that you get insurance.
Well, but most people don't. That's what I'm saying is you can say you feel that way, right? Let me tell you what insurance should be for, right? If I go out and finance a car a month, and the person who gave me the money said, I want to guarantee my money, right? I want you to have insurance before I give you the money. I think that can be a requirement. But if I go out and I drop my $7,000 on my Honda Accord, you can't then tell me that I need some backing when I spend my money.
They don't tell you that. You don't have to get insurance to cover your Honda Accord. You got to get insurance to cover my car.
Hey, that's the point. Well, I don't have to have insurance at all. It depends on what state you're. No. It depends on what state you in. Some states require you to have insurance.
How about we operate with the laws in most states? Let's just do this.
In most states, you don't have to have insurance unless you're in the South.
Hold on, let me read that shit. Hold on.
Look it up. Look it up.
That's interesting to me.
Oh man.
But I was just I had this one video, man. I'm about to do a review on it. There's this like a dentist. Well, he was posing as a dentist down in Atlanta, giving out people veneers and their teeth were falling out. So, you need some credentials.
I was gonna say sophisticated. I also saw a story where a dentist didn't have a PhD and he was doing good work. So I actually saw that. I was gonna try to find that. So it's like, it's on and off with that.
Eat Man, I need you to challenge this so that we can, see what the truth is. So it says in the U.S., almost every state requires car insurance if you drive a vehicle. The main exception is New Hampshire. You are not legally required to carry auto insurance if you can prove that you can pay for the damages yourself after an accident. However, if you cause a crash and you can't pay, your license can be suspended. Many people there still buy insurance. There are also a few states that allow alternative to traditional insurance. Virginia historically allowed an uninsured motor vehicle fee instead of insurance, though laws have changed recently and insurance requirements tightened. So what do you have to say to that, man? What's your
So
pushback?
when I was saying that, so it's two different things, right? Everybody can say that you are required to have it, but you're not punished for not having it, is what I was saying. So, for example, in the state of Georgia, if you get pulled over, you don't have any insurance, you just go to jail, right? Yeah, you go to jail. It's like serious in Georgia. But in a lot of states, not having insurance can be as simple as just get a warning. Like it's not punished. That's kind of what I was mean. Like, if it's no true punishment for me not having it, it's not really required. Did that kind of make sense? Unsophisticated jerk, or no?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like it's a lot of things that they say we supposed to have, but if it's no repercussions for me not having it, it's not really a requirement. That's the only point that I was making. But I get it if you feel like everybody want to have liability. Matter of fact, we see the whole movement of these sovereign citizens going to court and winning, saying that they're not required to have insurance. So the idea that it is required, so let me ask this question. Do you think it's required for us to operate a vehicle for us to have a license?
You said, is it required? Should it be required or?
Is it required? Like, so do everybody have to subscribe to having a license to operate a vehicle?
No, I don't.
You don't have to. Okay, so that's what I'm saying is just because they tell you it's a requirement, it does not mean that it's a requirement. I have watched case after case. Now they're getting a lot better. Let me say that. But sovereign citizens says that they're not required based on the constitutional right to literally have a license because they have the right to travel freely through the United States. It gives them that right. Now, judges,
the right to travel freely does not mean by motor vehicle on the road.
I have seen people beat the case.
I'm sorry?
I have seen people beat the case.
Yo,
in court.
Go ahead.
That's all. Listen, and I'm not sovereign. I don't care about it. The point that I'm telling you is just because something says that it is a requirement doesn't mean that it's enforceable by everybody. That was the point I was making. But I do agree that if you look at the law says that you can't do stuff, but all laws are not actually enforceable. Because we know, like in Alabama, it says that you can take your wife down to the courtroom and I think and beat her in front of the courthouse. That's law. Like that's what I'm saying. Just because it's a law doesn't mean that it's enforceable. That's all I'm saying. What you think, Speaks? But I think we kind of got in a squirrel moment. But the one thing that I'm trying to understand is, should we actually have the choice to choose? And I got two people, because if this is the case, because I'm going somewhere with this sophisticated jerk. If this is the case, we need to start telling all these YouTubers to stop having these private consultations because they doing therapy, they doing advice. Like all these YouTubers say, hey, hit my Patreon, hit this link to have a one-on-one session. What is that, sophisticated jerk?
Yeah, no, I think them lines get blurred a little bit. So I don't have no issue with people getting help. But I do think like how you put yourself out there. So if you're, like you said, you're like, look, I'm a life coach. What's Tony Robbins? I'm a motivational speaker. You know, you could give that stuff. But I think when you start trying to put the expert and you start trying to analyze people that got some deep issues, that's where I think that gray area, it becomes a little gray area, and that's where it should have some separation.
No, I agree. I don't think you should. I don't think you should be dishonest. I think somebody. So, say for example, somebody went to Dr. Bryant and they had the belief that she was a licensed physician and she's not a licensed. I think that person should be able to sue them for the dishonest. Right? I'm not saying that, but I think that just like with Trey experience, Trey giving out his little personal advice on this, that, and third, he should have the right to do that. He just don't need to lie about it.
No, like you said, if people are upfront, I don't see too much of an issue with that. Like when it just comes to somebody that has like deep issues, that's where it could get tricky.
I think that this is the problem, right? If you're going to say that I think if you're going to say that you do therapy, I think it has a definition. I think that you should be licensed for therapy. However, coaching, right? If you're saying like, yo,
Mind your audio coming in a little bad, man.
sound like it's better.
Yeah, that's better now.
If you're saying that like, yo, I can make you money and all that other type of shit, that's a little different to me. But as far as therapy, no, I think you should definitely have to be licensed to do that. Because like I said, it's when things go bad, right? Like who can you got somebody to run to? You got like recourse if shit go bad. I had another point I'm gonna make, but let me think about that one.
Yeah, well, think about it, because you can't really run to nobody. Like that's the point that I don't know why we keep like. Say for example, if she was licensed and you felt she gave you bad advice, you can't run to nobody. You can complain if you saying me complaining about something, but if I sat down with her and I felt that she gave me bad advice, I can sue her, licensed or not licensed. I have the right to sue her, so I can't still hold her accountable. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you can sue her, but you can't say that you can't practice no more.
Well, you can't. That's the point that I'm saying. Like, you can't stop her from practicing anyways. Nobody can stop her from practicing.
Yeah, no, the law can.
No, they can't.
But I think your legal case would be harder if somebody was like, I don't have those credentials. I let them know up front. Like you said, they told the truth. Then you pretty much probably won't have too much of a leg to stand on in court. But when they have those credentials, they.
But I'm just trying. I'm trying to understand what he's saying. I said in a private settings, and we had a conversation. You took that information and made a decision for your life. You think that you should be able to hold me accountable for your decision that you made?
So Edelman, right? If you say that you're a therapist, right, and I take you to court for malpractice, you can go to jail, right? But if you say that you're a coach, I can probably only sue you civilly if I can prove that maybe that you really impacted me in a certain way. But malpractice, you're going to jail potentially.
I'm telling you that malpractice, to prove malpractice from a therapist point of view, is almost impossible. Now, if you was a doctor, you gave me prescriptions, you did the wrong operations on me, it's hard to prove this from a mental point of view that you was in malpractice. That's the point that I'm making. It's not the same.
So you're saying that, right? But it may not be true. I may be able to go to your Facebook page and get some shit that's like, oh no, this nigga, he said this. He said this was his beliefs, and this was like, and it might be way easier to prove that shit. I think it's a lot of I think you're trying to kind of like throw out like, oh, you can't, it's hard to
No,
do.
it's not, because I'm just a lot of I done been to court a lot in my life. Matter of fact, I was on court TV. I done been to court, and I'm telling you, if you go to my Facebook page and say he said this, I say you need to prove that I said that into you in our therapy section. That's what you gotta prove. You can't prove I said it on Facebook.
I don't know about that. So
I'm just telling, just being in court. I'm telling you, I would walk. If somebody tried to go to court with me and said I said this, I said, okay, did you record this? Like you gotta have some form of evidence that I told you to do that. And I'm telling you why it's one of the hardest things. Therapists typically don't tell you to do nothing. This is what I'm saying. Proving malpractice is so hard.
No, real licensed therapists typically don't tell you to do nothing because they're real licensed therapists. Versus somebody who like Diane Bryant, who's absolutely going to try and diagnose you and tell you, oh, you're just a narcissist and you need to do this and you need to like not have any more baby moms and you need to do this. She's going to tell you everything she think you should fucking do from her worldview.
So if someone says that you are a narcissist, should you have the ability to sue them?
Come on now. Of course, I don't think that's that has impacted me to the degree that I'm gonna sue somebody for that. No, but I'm thinking
that's what I said is that I would look at that as the judge or on that jury say, nigga, you just being sensitive. Your life is not going the way you want, and you chose to listen to the wrong person.
So look,
hey, Mark.
Yeah.
I think the best. Hey, what up, panel? What up, everybody?
What's good,
I
Trey?
think the best thing to do in this, and you can run this show back. I think the best thing to do is go find case law on the situation like this.
Mm.
Because right now, without studying case law and doing my research, I'm leaning toward either man. I understand that you can sue somebody, but I think just word of mouth, it's going to be your word against theirs. Because in a private session, you have to sign. I don't know about y'all, but I've signed where there's a certain level of privacy that you have to have and no recording, things of that nature. So it's going to be your word against the therapist or the person that you're seeing word, right? And I think with them having more credentials and you going to them for help, the judge will lean more toward them because you're going there because you need help. So if it's your word against theirs, they're gonna I would think they would believe the therapist before they believe you. So I would study case law and see if there's some actual situations that transpired and study that case law and be like, okay, well, this is how you can sue somebody in that regard.
Yeah, I think this is the problem, right? So there's so many different reasons that you could sue a therapist. And I think, and I'm not saying that it's easy overall, right? But like for example, right? Um, let's say a sexual relationship, right? That probably makes it a lot easier, right? Versus if you're just my coach and I'm fucking you, right? If you have a sexual relationship with a coach, you have a sexual relationship
Muffled
with a
again,
therapist.
Mark.
What you say?
Okay, you sound better a little bit.
Oh, my bad. Did y'all hear me about the sexual relationship part?
Yeah, and then you got muffled.
Oh yeah, I think it's a lot easier to you can sue. It's easier to sue a therapist for having a sexual relationship and that being leading to malpractice versus a coach. And I'm fucking Cheyenne Bryant. They gonna be like, nigga, get out of here. Like,
Yeah, but
fucking
man, you
you.
you you conflating the issue versus like you bringing in sex into the situation. That's a totally different
But that's relevant.
dynamic
If I have a,
versus
if you're my therapist, there are certain things that just you can't do no more.
facts.
I can be in front of Cheyenne Bryant. I'll be like, yo, shorty, you look good. Like, what's going on? Like, I can take her home and fuck her,
Yeah,
and
but
she
you
give me.
moving the goalpost, Month, because Edelman was literally just talking about the diagnosis from a mental capacity. Hey, you dealing with this issue. Hey, this is how you should handle it, or they do handle it however they handle it. They're not talking about physical touch and things of that nature
No.
and having sex
Yeah.
with somebody. That's moving
But
the goalpost, in my
when we
opinion.
look at, so this is why I don't think I'm moving the goalposts because we're talking about the overall aspect that you should not have to be licensed to go to to be a therapist, right? Now, when we talk about that overall statement, we have to look into all the scenarios of where you can do things and you can be held accountable
I agree.
because you're a therapist.
I agree.
And I'm telling you, if you sleep with your coach or your therapist, you can be sued. I don't know what Mark think that you got a pass now because you're a coach. No, you can be sued in both situations, and the judge is gonna hold that accountable.
Well,
I
truth be
can't
told, you can sue
criminally,
somebody for almost
I,
anything, being
I
honest.
can't, no, I
Yeah.
can't criminally sue you for fucking you.
Yes,
I
you
can.
can.
No, I can't. Oh, yeah. So no, not criminally, unless I say that it was not consensual.
Oh, so hold on. I just want to make sure. So you think Cassie did not criminally sue Diddy for having sex with her?
Yeah, no. But what was the charges? What did she bring up? The charges that were brought upon him.
Well, it says that he was internationally like this. The point that I'm saying is that if you are
I'd like you to tell me
trafficking,
what she was suing him for, if you could.
no,
Now,
well,
the
well,
charges had to do on that situation with them, the
no,
gigolos, our
because
dudes moving them
Mutt's
state
talking
lines and
from
shit.
no Mutt is talking from two different sides of the law. So if it's criminally, the person that's not suing you is usually the state suing you. This is why you see Georgia versus such and such. So if
Exactly.
it's hello, so that's what I'm saying. When you said how can she bring criminal charges, you're misspeaking because she
Yeah.
can't. Only a state can.
Hold on. No, I didn't say how can she. I said she can't. Right.
She
Whereas,
can't, period. She can't bring criminal charges on you, period. A state
yeah.
got to, so Georgia got to bring charges to you.
So,
Alabama, if you ever see
no, you're right.
indictments,
I can see it right there, right? But why
okay.
would a state sue you? The state would sue you for practicing, like something that requires a license. The state wouldn't sue you for coaching. They would sue you for violating that. That's what I'm saying.
But Trey had it. It's like you could sue for anything. I think the bar just would be a lot lower for like a coach, a life coach or something like that, versus it still might be even low for a therapist, but at least there's a more probability that you you might get something, even though it could be low too.
But it will only be civil, and it will be me against you. I wouldn't have a backing of a board or the backing of a state that's going to also sue you. Or like,
But that means that you're advocating. I don't think Mark understand what you're advocating. You're advocating for me not to get the license. I have more power not having a license.
no, you have more. Yeah, but so if you're unethical, yes.
No, period. No, listen, you were asking me, listen to what you're asking. You said get into a white man's system where he can control me. He can take my license. He can sue me. I'm telling black people, nah, reject that. Go out there and do your own thing. And then give people the choice. I got this therapy section over here. It's going to be $150 a month. Do you want to come or not? I ain't got no license.
I don't. So, Jerk, did I just successfully make you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't get a license and go to school, or no?
Nah.
It made me. That's what it made me, because you like, shoot, the state go get involved, and then they go sue me, and I can go to jail. I'm like, shoot, instead of doing all that, like, we just give out some free, like, hey, check this out. I ain't got no license. I just want to, my point that I'm trying to help you understand, I think that we don't have to have license because somebody told us we had to.
Yeah, not for everything. So some things I'm with you. I'm with you on some things.
Therapy. I'm talking about specifically for therapy. For somebody to sit down, I'd rather sit down with somebody who got 50 years of life experience, who've been married for 50 years, talk about something that's a kid that's 21 years old who just got a degree.
So I think that should be couples coaching. I don't think that should, because when we talking about therapy, like we thinking about like the surface, the little light shit. The shit get real deep, right? To the people that they actually dealing with and helping. Like I see it as important as medicine.
Yeah, and if your shit that deep, you need to go to who you think is best for you. And you got a choice. Like, why are you trying to take my choice away, Mont? Remember, you supposed to be pro-choice. And I'll tell you, I want to have the choice to go to somebody's licensed or somebody who's not licensed.
You have the choice. They just call themselves something different. They're coach.
But I want them to call them what they feel. I thought we live in a world where we can people can call themselves what they feel. She felt like she was a therapist, Mart.
It's rules, man.
Yeah.
It's rules. Hey, the only thing that separates us from the animals is rules. That's what they said. That's what they said in John.
So who make the rules?
We make the rules.
Who is we?
Civilized society. That's who makes it.
We vote.
Y'all ain't make no rules about no license. That's why we gaslighting me here telling y'all made some rules.
Man, I don't want to go down that route of y'all didn't make the rules because it was white men. Like I don't want to go down that. That's such a deep rabbit hole. Who meant like? But in general, we vote on things.
But the point that I was trying to make it is, what I really think that we need is an alternative to the system that's in place. And I don't want to sound like I'm trying to be rebellious, down with the system. I just think, like, even in medicine, we should have both options. You can go to the doctor and get all those prescriptions, or you can go to the Dr. Sebi route and do a more natural healing. That's what I'm saying. It's like we need the problem I have with this woman is the dishonesty. It's not her practicing without a license. And that's the point that we should be talking about, not that she don't have a license.
Yes, her dishonesty and the work that comes with it too, because she's been contradicting herself. So her results wouldn't match what she claims to have. So that both of that is a problem.
Big facts. She been contradicting herself. If you go listen to her commentary from this video to that video to this video, she's literally saying different things and contradicting herself every video. So my question, Mark, are you advocating for her or you not? I'm just curious.
Oh, I know. I think she's a liar.
Okay.
I think if she want to be a coach, perfect.
She should have been one for sure. She'll be a great coach if I'm being honest.
I don't.
And she said, as a licensed therapist, that's what she said.
I've been practicing for 17, 19 years. Like, girl, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm not a proponent of I don't think that she gives good advice for the most part. I think that her advice sounds good. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, man, is when I say she gives good advice, I'm saying I've heard her say things that I agree with that I would tell somebody.
Mm-hmm. Like, give me an example.
Gentle parenting don't work.
I don't remember verbatim. If I'm being honest.
I got it. Gentle parenting don't work. I agree with that statement that it does not work.
Yeah, that's the surface level shit though. All right.
But that's these conversations online and surface level. You act like she out here saying, let me write prescriptions back there illegally. Like she's doing surface level work. We haven't seen her do no deep work. Cam Newton, surface level. Guess what? Nick Cannon, surface level. Like she's not her whole month.
That's fact.
Her whole month. The point I'm saying, she's not out here saying that she's a deep level therapist that you're trying to hold her to.
She said that she practiced legitimately. She said she was a licensed therapist for 19 years. I don't care what she did with Cam Newton and all them niggas. I don't care about her coaching and all that type of stuff. But if she was practicing therapy, I think that's a bad thing.
All right, so hold on, Mike. Listen, let's say this. If we had somebody come out and states, because I feel like the most money she done made is trying to sell a book. She ain't even really trying to sit down with nobody. She just told us her sections was her interviews. That's her quote unquote sessions, right? I don't think she having no sessions for real.
Hey, man, that was crazy for her to even say that, bro.
Yeah, that was crazy. But my question I want to ask Mike, because I want to meet Mike in the middle, right? Can we say that she's doing great work until we have an individual says that she's mispracticing come forward?
It's possible. I understand the point of view of like, yo, ain't nobody say shit. She did nothing wrong, so why do we even like say anything? But a lot of times, most people just don't report stuff that happens to them. They just don't like.
So we assume it happens.
No, so look, so I'm a hold on.
This nigga eating, man, that was good.
Hold on, so I'm a for example, my sister, right? Something happened to my sister because she went to somebody. She went to somebody who was like some sort of spiritual teacher, right?
Who recommended the teacher?
I don't even remember. It was at a weird time where I wasn't talking a lot to her. We wasn't on bad terms, but we just wasn't talking communicating too much. She went to she found some spiritual teacher, and out of nowhere, she started telling us crazy shit like, yo, I've been talking to our ancestors and stuff like that, right? Like, yo, he came in, my dad came and talked to me in my sleep. He been talking to me. We got powers, like we royalty and we got powers and stuff. We can do things and all that type of stuff, right? So this is the first thing my sister's just telling us, and I'm like, oh, you sound a little crazy, but whatever, right? So I go to Vegas, and I'm on my way. I'm leaving Vegas now. Like I'm leaving, and I get a call from my mom as I'm leaving Vegas. She like, yo, she's hysterical. She like, yo, your sister jumped off a roof, right? I'm like, what? So she jumps off a roof. She's in critical condition. Her face is she just looked like a person that jumped off a roof into some concrete. So she ended up living for maybe about 3 weeks on, life support or whatever. But essentially, the things that they were practicing, it's called like a Kundalini awakening. It's some sort of breathing technique. And when you look it up, it says that it's extremely dangerous and it can like make you psychotic. But essentially, my sister, she's gone, and we don't have any recourse. Like, it's like, who do you talk to? Who do you go to? Because you might have been practicing something that was much more dangerous than you thought it was, or maybe you paid attention to. But this person is probably still practicing on other people, and who knows how many other people may have lost family members because they thought they could fly, and they jumped off a roof or something. That's just an example.
Yeah, you want me to respond to that? Because I got cut out. What I'm saying, Mike, if your monkey ass get up there and jump off a roof, we gonna hold you accountable. Matter of fact, God held you accountable. That's why you with us, Dumbo. You was held accountable for your actions. We gotta stop. We gotta stop people. And listen, it's two different types of people. I understand that people who doesn't have the mental capacity to make decisions and they got caregivers, I do believe we should hold those caregivers accountable. I want to be clear about that, right? But when you say that you have the mental capacity to make decisions for yourself, you choosing to follow someone with your free will and they're not forcing you to do it, we can't say somebody made you do it because they convinced you.
Hold on. But that's the thing. This is why so do you have the ability, do you have the knowledge to even know if you have been counseled properly to make that decision?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like we gotta. Well, let me ask you this question. This
I
is
was gonna say you need to vet the people that like when I went to therapy, I vetted the person. I just didn't sign up.
Exactly.
Would you agree, Either Man? You fell out.
Did he get a bounty? Because I remember
5 minutes. That's crazy. Either man, Willie dropped you for 5 minutes. I don't even know if I put him in the back or something. I think I put him in the back. I don't know how that works.
Man, see you on this crazy system, nigga.
It's crazy. Willie sent me $5. Willie an asshole.
Bro, what I tell you to do, man? You don't listen, bro.
Oh, what'd you say?
Man, do your email over, fam.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna figure that out today. But
do y'all think like if somebody's like a coach, therapist, whatever, say like if they start talking to somebody, they realize like there's some deeper issues, there's an obligation to like damn, okay, Trey, he knows how to deal with this. He's a psychiatrist. Let me refer him over there versus me trying to like still try to talk to that person.
Facts.
So
I agree 100%.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of getting at with Either Man. It's like some of them people, them life coaches, it's like, I get it if you're giving them basic shit relationship wise and stuff like that, that's understandable. But when it starts coming to those people, like I said, man, we're seeing this stuff play out in the news, man. These people are often like the guy who was like 7 of his kids and stuff. Yeah, nah. we got to have some credentials.
Crazy word.
Willie said it's supposed to be for the show. That nigga some
Hey, Mark.
You about to head out?
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, family.
For sure, absolutely.
You about to have a live later, Trey?
Oh, 10 o'clock tonight for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna try to pull up.
All right.
Absolutely. But I mean, now I'm about to look, as far as this particular point, I understand what everybody's saying. My fear is just like the people who you don't get to hear their story, because most people, they don't tell you. Like, for example, like I done sued a few companies who didn't hire me because of my criminal record, right? Because I don't have one, but I was fighting some cases. I won all my cases, but I was fighting some and they didn't hire me. And I knew that it was illegal based on the reasons for them not hiring me. I knew that shit, right? So I ended up, settling with those employers. Most people will never actually sue an employer because they don't have the knowledge and they don't have the resilience to be like, fuck y'all niggas, I'm about to sue you, right? Like, it's probably tons of people they did that to. I'm the only nigga who got back. So I think it's the same thing with like a lot of people, somebody a therapist or a doctor did something to them and they just like, fuck it. I just got to deal with this. Because this is how most people are. So I'm not saying that the system is perfect. Like I'm definitely willing to like, all right, let's work on the system. But like the idea of like, oh, just throw it out and let's Wild West, I don't agree with that.
No, and you got a good point, because I think once one case come out, say if it's extreme, it's over the top, that's when everybody start coming out like, oh man, I thought I was just the only one, so they start seeing a pattern.
Yeah.
Of, like you said, unethical behavior, wrongdoings and stuff. So yeah, that's how it typically plays out.
Yeah, it's like when you report a police officer and, that one report not going to do much, right? But when they see that nigga got 20, it's like, oh, damn, we got to let you go. You doing a little too much. So, it's shit like that. But I'm about to get out of here. I actually had a decent live today. I had some people in the fucking comments. I had up to 15 people. That's decent. That's some progress for me.
Yeah, I didn't know you gonna finish, with the original stuff he was talking about.
Yeah, I think that'll be. Yes, I'm still gonna dig deeper into that. It's a few things I want to go deeper into, kind of do my own show. Because now, like my own show, I can actually niggas can talk.
Yes,
you
yes.
You can't hear me on the other panels.
Yeah, I just think, like you said, man, I think you still should be out there, man, because I definitely think people got to have those opposing views, man. So I definitely like listening to it. So maybe that's just me being greedy, but definitely start.
We get drowned out. So.
Yeah, but I definitely think you need to start doing more of your lives, your own concepts and stuff, and I think it start gaining traction and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do both for sure. I'm still gonna be up on them panels giving them niggas hell. They just gonna have to be mad at me because cause I disagree with them niggas. So, but yeah, I'll be on that bitch later most likely. But Jerk, what you be where do you normally be finding yourself in on YouTube? Like, what do you normally be doing? Like,
Man, I got my own channel, so we be over there, we be cracking jokes and shit. So I do my lives like Monday and shit here and there. I do a lot of recordings and stuff, so I try to like review a lot of y'all, you, Willie and stuff. Y'all takes on Lapeef. I do Fatty's lives. I try to do reviews on those. But now I'm gonna start trying to get out there more, man. I just been busy, man, because I do a lot of training and shit.
Gotcha.
As far as like Muay Thai and stuff, so I'm trying to slow down on that.
Yeah.
Then I started a business on top of my job, so yeah, I just been busy, man.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely pull up, man. Send me the links and stuff whenever you go live, and I'll pull up over here.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, man, I'm gonna let y'all go. I appreciate
All
y'all.
right, man. Take it easy, bro.
Take it easy.